得虽然就是每一场都是生死战，但是现在也不是最难的时候，就是大家还跟往常一样。
那现在进入到了季后赛第2轮了嘛？今天面对 NIP 的话，中路将会和灵活多变的中单选手都必进行交手，你怎么看你们之间的这场交锋呢？
我觉得多音币和他队友的联动配合都非常好吧，要小心他们前期的设计。
好的，我们也谢谢尚克斯，期待你们今天在比赛当中的精彩表现。
观看2025英雄联盟职业联赛季后赛，您可以通过英雄联盟客户端找上英雄联盟及英雄联盟赛事官网 LPL.QQ.com、虎牙直播、斗鱼直播、哔哩哔哩直播、咪咕视频、腾讯视频、腾讯体育、新浪微博、微信视频号进行收看。电视机前的召唤师可以通过百视通平台收看全程赛事。嘿，来认识一下这位新队友，全新沉淀 CLA， 李宁英雄联盟斗魂觉醒系列现已上市。上京东搜游戏台式机，游戏主机低至8折抢。我在场就是主场，莫兹利安为 LPL 奶硬口。全新 OPPO Find X8 系列夜景人像神器，夜拍超清晰，人像 MVP。TCL 全屋智慧家电，峡谷英雄敢为不凡。2025 LPL 官方指定家电产品。更受电竞用户喜欢的能量饮料，有能量当然占马。傲风电竞椅连续5年中国电竞椅销量第1。开一局吗？开就开，保护有度度，尽情开一局。感谢全场保护的杜蕾斯。酷睿 Ultra 200HX AI 高进游戏本，游戏本的6边形战士。
欢迎来到2025英雄联盟职业联赛季后赛，这里是深圳 NIP 主场，让我们有请深圳 Ninjas in Pajamas Animals Legend。上单 Solo Kill Flame Roll， 打野奶油 Harden， 中单 Doing B Shanks， 下路 Live Hope， 辅助 Nike Kale，
Hello folks, we've got ourselves our walkouts and fist bumps coming along.
2025 LPL 季后赛第6日，深圳 NIP 对阵 AL 即将开始，让我们一起期待这场精彩的对决。
Does Super Carry Doomby stand a chance? With the way AL have been playing recently, who the hell knows? I think Shanks has been in a bit of a weird state. This split has improved again recently, but there was not the dominance that he had earlier on in the year. Struggled since their international jaunt and some high-profile drama. Shanks getting himself in a lot of hot water publicly. NIP, of course, joined EDG on their way up from Nirvana. EDG just bowing out the other day in a very tight series versus JDG. Whether their Nirvana compatriots in NIP can make a deeper run here. Yeah, hell of a thing to do to knock out anyone's legend of all teams. We'll be going to regionals, of course. But still. Nirvana reps of low-key impressed. Agreed, agreed, agreed. That's the lights. Just have to wait on some of that camera in action. But a draft, well, a draft might just do. A draft might just do indeed. Let's come and say hello, shall we? Hello, folks. Good to have you in here. Poppy, Azir, Alistair banned by Ninjas in Pyjamas. Pantheon, Galio, and Rise banned by Anyone's Legends. Triple globals away from NIP. Pantheon, sorry, Talia. What I'm looking for. Pantheon, Talia. So much synergy in my mind. Hey, Lorendy, good to see you. But Yunara is what ends up being first pick there for leave. In response, it is Jarvan and Rumble. Spicy hot pot secured. Kiana, Annie, straight after. I wondered whether we would be seeing more and more of this. This combo, in general, has been so silly. Currently 7-0 in the LPL is Kiana. Was getting first picked by the likes of Top Esports is the Kiana. But this combo, specifically the Kiana Annie, it's New Age Annie Wukong. Annie sets him up, Kiana knocks him down. It's very, very nasty. The response, of course, being the Orianna. So some pretty potent combos on both sides right now. Yeah, this is not new for the LPL right now. That chair spinning around. It is. It is, it is. How to get rid of the extra bans. The AD carry, I suspect, for NIP. Sivert makes sense. Lots of wave clear into Yunara. Though, in fairness, Yunara's had a good matchup into the Sivert. I feel like the Zaya might be a smart ban here, actually. Has often been her least favourite matchup to begin with. Begin the life of her career as a pro-level AD carry. Xante and Bessa off the table now as well. See what that final ban is. I am assuming that it will be another AD carry, and the Varus ends up being the decision. Kiana will be so nerfed we'll not hear about for the next 10 years. We'll see. Yeah, she's had a lot of success in the LPL. Everywhere else, she's struggled. So, we shall see. Of course, the LPL is the region of Kiana mains, really. Out comes the Corki. Hope hasn't... After a horrible start on Corki, has now actually ended up being his most successful champion this split, which is kind of hilarious. Nico now getting locked in for NIP, though. Their own big engaged support. Very squishy comp. Lots of damage, lots of pick. Ornn would provide them some frontline. Would mean that Solo Kill is now going to be up against the tender mercies of Flandre with counter pick, however. The Luke Skywalker pick is standing by. Actually, what am I talking about? Rumble's it. There is no Luke Skywalker pick for him support. I'm lying to you all on the internet. I can only apologize. Just blanked on the fact that Rumble was locked in first round for red side. Don't worry about that, guys. The Rumble notoriously able to get some shove into the Ornn. It's a fine-ish match for the Ornn. You lose gracefully is often the term. But Kyle will get a hold of his Bard. Big roaming champion to join up with the Jarvan. Try and play it that way. AL, that's a comp that would have been potent nearly all the year. For NIP, they're the ones who get a hold of this Kiana Annie. It has been starting to make waves in the LPL.
And I love that NIP give their jungle support, which you'd normally think, well, these are the guys you want on less pressure, you know, because whatever. No, Nika and Nio have been a duo together since their LDL days. They've stuck this out for a long time. They've now reconvened here in LPL proper. They're against arguably the best jungle support we've seen in the LPL this year, and the LDL duo has been given the tools to show that they belong here. This is an elimination series. I don't think they expected to be playing against AL here. And while you do have players like Derby on your team, the jungle support are the ones which have been given the tools to thrive. Let's see how they do.
Ramp that volume up as we get prepared to head on to the Rift Fair. Series 1. Game 1. Series is perhaps a bit of a muchness. We've only got one left to play. This isn't the weekend. There you have it. First pick Cunara for leave. V carry for NIP. Over to Kiana Annie. Oh, baby. It's spiced in game 1. Quick flyover. Some cinematic shots. We head into the real meat of this particular bit of cinema. So, little statistical overview there, giving NIP, at least off this particular analytical model, bit of an edge in the early to mid stages of the game, with an expected win on the grubs for NIP.
But I think AL, very good around playing their specific power spikes if they're given the option. There is a stack coming in from AL, and it's not spotted either. So this invade will be going off without NIP's notice. They don't know about this until now. Niall will find that out now. Drop a ward. Will have to get out. So he's going to lose his red buff. Kyle can stun him against the wall. It's a nice trade there. No, is he going to have to start the W? He is. We do sometimes see the Q start instead. No, I don't really think he can stick around for this. He's going to head off to his other side. Oh, no, I thought he just head over to the other side of his jungle. He's still going to stick around here, but now he's going to have to face up against level 2 Tarzan.
Wants to try and get the smite off. Can maybe do that, actually. Oh, smite! No, he's early!
It wasn't, I mean, I would argue, Sam, that's not even early. There just wasn't enough damage. He just didn't, he was trying to time it with the Jarvan auto attack. That was just a misplay. Nio put under pressure, and we were just said, hey, jungle support, given the tools for NIP, but they're against Tarzan and Kyle, and at the first hurdle, they've taken a stumble.
Kiana in the LPL, 7-0 so far, undefeated in the region. Elsewhere in the world, it's like 1-7. It's not gone very well in every other region. But here it has been the Homer specialist for AL always, always scary when they're given time to prep for a team to set up early plays for their jungle. That is going to sting right now for Nio. Loses 2 camps, burns the early smite, wastes a lot of time. It's going to be well behind curve and a champion that is notoriously able to farm their way to a massive individual lead.
Taza's now going to defend his topside camps too, and there's full vision on Nio kind of moving towards his bot jungle if he wanted to go through there to reach anyone's Legends bot side. So he's not going to have access to almost anything, really. Dermby's going to put a ward onto the Raptors. Maybe that means that Nio can contest those. But really, that smite on the Raptors was just so panicked from him. There was no damage coming in. Maybe waiting for one last tick of his jungle pet on it. It didn't end up working out. And now he's very far behind. Will contest on the Raptors, but I don't know. I feel like Shanks can just walk over.
Gonna try. Duembi did get the shove initially to get a hold of that initial ward. Does manage to smite combo that one a little better. The first one I think was off a bad reset timing on the Raptors. Was trying to tug it out and just reset on him.
So the thing is that he smited at 650 HP.
Yeah, exactly.
There was no extra damage coming in. He didn't have red buff. So what was he waiting for in terms of the damage? So I'm not so sure there, really.
I guess he's wondering that the tether was about to run out. It was now or never.
But then at that point, just don't smite, because it's not going to... At the end of the day, it wasn't going to kill it either way.
I mean,
and I know we're focused on the micro here. We really are, but that stuff could genuinely flip this game. See right there on the...
double scuttle.
It's going to custom double scuttle. He's been 3 buffed now, because Tarzan will take his blue buff. And Tarzan, bluntly, was out jungled by Tien in their first matchup. And that's one of the reasons why AL are down here in this lower bracket, and why we talk about this jungle micro so much. We can discuss, we can back and forth, but the real importance of it is now you see Tarzan, if he wins that micro, he's going to go straight back for the wrap to respawn, and Nio is being shut out of the game. This game is revolving around the jungle matchup.
Tarzan's got his second red buff. He's got a refresh on it, and there's the empowered auto with the martial cadence. Over comes Nycat to kind of shield this one out. But he wins the smite fight as well. Double the CS of the Kiana right now.
Oh, it's just such a hard position to be in. Not bad, straight back onto Shanks. And it feels bad for NIP, because I do think that their combo works really well later. But will they reach that point now? That is the question. If this Kiana is shut out of the game so comprehensively, you play it in a 4v5 until you can scrape him back into the game.
I genuinely, if this was a live broadcast, if this was the LEC or NLC, I would be on every line I could be to get a slow-mo replay of that Raptor fight, because this is what it's led to. It is unreal how much of a problem this is now going to cause Nio.
We're getting into our lane swap elsewhere now. So we have the Ornn versus the Bard and the Corki. See that the lanes besides the jungle matchup have been doing fine. It really has just been anyone's legend saying, all right, we got the Jarvan, we have a good early matchup. Kiana is vulnerable before she really gets to a pop-off state of, 1-2 items, ultimate unlocks as well. In the early levels, level 1 to 3, she does not survive champions like Jarvan or Shinzao that effectively. And AL, real credit to them. They're a team which a lot of people had started to worry about in this split, and of course in the lower bracket, we had a lot of worries about.
Nycat about to come and help potentially gank Flandre, who's not quite got the level 6. He ends up taking a turret shot there in a way I think was not entirely anticipated, but it's going to be fine. Should be able to get a turret plate here likely.
Anyone's Legend took the dragon while we're talking about this too. Now, they do a little bit of damage there. Doomby coming up with level 6. This is a little easier to play around.
Flash from Flandre does not save him. We'll try and get some value back with the Flame Spitter, but Nycat flash on the flash out. Gets out to safety. And
it's only Kyle teleporting up too, so in terms of the XP picked up at tower, no one's getting this right now. What's happening in terms of objectives once more? It's not close to Grub, so it's a good, clean kill. Dernby. Well, if your one jungler's been shut down, luckily you got a second one in the mid lane. Dernby's been pretty good at that whole roaming style over time. Flandre missing a lot of CS under this turret, so NIP gets some good value out of that.
Tarzan's going to get on top of that Scuttle Crab. Should be able to knock that one down. That's the third of the game for him. Now he's going to try and do this again, but it's on the respawn. They know! They've got the bloody ball in again!
Oh, God, let him have some goddamn popcorn chicken. Just give him one piece. It's a bargain bucket. Give him some.
He's got Cataclysm and the red buff respawn as well.
Oh, Jesus. The flags are going to spot him out too. Oh, poor Nio. I mean, what's the jungler to do? The whole team has just walked in with Tarzan. Yeah,
On repeat.
The bouncers have walked in and said, gotta see your ID. Yep, sorry, gotta see your ID.
No!
They take the Krug. Nio's been kicked out on his ass, thrown out on his ass onto the street. He's not got his ID to get into the club.
Pull yourself up by the bootstraps. But sir, they stole my bootstraps.
Oh god, I know that the car's also just like, oh no, Kiana's behind like 400 gold in the early game. A lot of it is on the XP. This Kiana is really important, and the Jarvan is really important on the other side to start off these combos. Anyone's Legend, if they now use this jungle advantage to get a huge Cataclysm-centric fight before Nio's ready to slap things back on the other side of it, I'm sure you'll be turning that opinion around.
And to be fair, the other thing it's doing is tracking Nio. Nio's got to do nothing this game, and that has not been particularly good fun for AL. Or for NIP, who do need that to work. Still not at level 6. Nio should get this off the next camp, but that has been very delayed. The grub's being started up.
Yeah, Nio still doesn't have level 6. He's still down on level 6. If he gets one grub, he will get it. Flash forwards.
Don't be over the wall with the flash. That's a really big chunk of the Flandre who gets the equalize down, but he's dead. Reminder who got caught out there the other day in the upper bracket. Anyway, Hope going to be over the wall here. Going to pick up another...
Level 6. Level 6 for Nio. He got the grub, so it's ended up being 1 for 1. It's not... So it's the second one will go over to NIP. And AL do not manage to find the fight before Nio hits himself level 6. And now, you know, we come away from the hilarity of the jungle matchup, let's be honest. And NIP are now almost 1,000 gold ahead. They do get themselves the 2 grubs, and they have managed to get 2 good kills onto the Rumble, who is a huge part of the combo on the other side. While Nio being put so far behind on in terms of camps and XP and what have you from the jungle matchup, we don't have to focus on that now, because we're getting to the point where perhaps NIP can use their solo lane engage and the follow-up of, you know, something like Nio afterwards to potentially turn the game.
Definitely true, and that's some good picks there from NIP, who are playing well into AL. And despite AL, actually, I think with a really clutch early plan, very coordinated, very telegraphed in terms of we're doing this invade, we're going to repeatedly look at Raptor respawns and make Kiana's life hell. The thing is, there is something to be said for the fact that Leave right now laning very well into Hope, stacking up the colors, picked up a 10+ CS lead individually. He's gotten those 2 kills on the Rumble. Flandre on the Rumble that he's put a lot of time into. He's on the Rumble in the jungle skin that he always spams out there. This is potentially a really big deal here if they are starting to bleed out early, because it could just shield Nio from the blushes of his really traumatic early jungle experiences.
Yeah, and sometimes jungle leads like this, they end up being more impactful than the gold you see on the screen. Right now, actually, you know, the XP is at the same level 7 to level 7, but Tarzan's about to take over to level 8. And remind folks, if NIP lose this series, their year is over. Anyone's Legend, of course, if they lose this, they lose a chance of 2 titles back-to-back, chance of easy qualification for Worlds for them if they were to go further. NIP, if they win this, they are minimum in regional qualifiers. They will have a chance to get to Worlds. They will not have that if they lose this series, so keep that in mind when it comes to how tense it feels things are. Dragon spawning now. First one went to Anyone's Legend earlier. NIP, I'm sure, not wanting to give them too early and avoiding that early soul stacking.
Reset now from Tarzan, who I think at this point will likely have that first item completed. Check the difference in the jungle pets.
Oh my god, Nio, I just realized Nio got his own raptors.
Hey!
Holy
First set of raptors at 11 minutes into the game.
Oh, Jesus. He stole like 1 big raptor. You know, even when he stole the enemy raptors, he didn't even get the small ones. He only got the large raptors.
That's ridiculous.
He's, yeah, he's been, I don't know, poultry minimizing. Right, Dragon started. This could be a huge fight. AL, do they bring the full combo to bear? Shanks recalling, looking to teleport in.
Angle barbs onto Tarzan. Over comes that teleport. It's a little bit deep. Solo kill going to be just fine though. Just get hit by the cosmic binding, but throws out a volcanic rupture TP into mid. It's a little late from Shanks, but he is now here.
There's Flandre as well. Ornn goes first.
Oh, Tempered Fate denies the supreme display of talent. Well, Tarzan flag the Dragon Claw so many. Flandre with the flame spinner in the backline. Oh, it's a disaster. Cataclysm keeps Leave locked up. Shockwave will keep him knocked down. Yeah, they bring down the Jarvan, but the rest of the team capitulates.
Anyone's Legend land the Wombo combo, and despite the fact that the Nymaera is not caught in the combo, Leave doesn't have the damage to follow up in the way that he needs to in that sort of fight. Anyone's Legend will take a bunch of kills, they will cut the gold lead and gain one of their own, and now get themselves likely the dragon afterwards too if they wish. Going to the replay, you know, I really like what Kyle did here. Ends up throwing the ult onto Tarzan so the follow-up doesn't work. Nio jumps forwards, ultimate goes through and doesn't catch the Jarvan, and then Tarzan is full HP, gets a 3-man flag and drag. And remember, this is a fed Jarvan. Ended up getting so much farm and XP early and buys so much time in this fight by going, of course, in that stasis with that Bard ultimate. Great response from Kyle. That Bard ult saves the fight.
And Flandre, who was 0-2, now gets a triple kill and is feeling so much better about life. Much, much better stuff. All the while, we come back to live. AL gets to turn to the dragon themselves. And that one stings. Look, NIP did at least get the kill towards feats of strength and that marker, but otherwise it's a big swing for anyone's legend.
So it's likely going to be on first turret now as to who gets that next one. Next objective, of course, to get it for anyone's legend. If you are questioned about, well, you know, what are the best parts of anyone's legend or something like that, point to that fight and talk about their jungle support. We've talked about it the entire year. Tarzan and Kyle are what makes anyone's legend anyone's legend. You can, of course, say great things about other members on the team, but realistically, the jungle support and, of course, Tave behind them, they are the strategic mind of this team. When anyone's legend started this year in winter, I thought, okay, well, they've been building towards something for a long time with, you know, finally bringing in, you know, someone like Tarzan to the roster. This feels like a real crowning jewel on this roster. They lost in winter finals. They came through in spring and they started to build something really huge for themselves. The strategists this team has been so impressive to watch. Of course, they're now down in the lower bracket and need to fight their way through to more relevance here in summer. They've had a tough time of it in Split 3, but this jungle support, when they show gameplay like this, help you understand how they achieved what they did this year.
Brief look at the timers on the screen should reveal that we've got Herald in about 40 seconds. Would be that mark towards feet strength. NIP are in the river first, though. Get some wards down. We'll see whether any resets come on through. We'll note that Nio finally does have that first item in the Profane Hydra, which is good news. And again, with those Axiomark buffs, it does feel like this has become the default build on the Guyana. Profane Hydra into Axiomark, all the ability haste, all the lethality.
I will say, unless you're into an Ivern, in that case, Serpent's Fang as early as possible. Actually, I was in LEC meetings yesterday for the show on the weekend. By the way, I'll be casting the last series of the weekend, which will be Fnatic versus GX, so catch me there. Be on desk the day before that for G2M coins, so I'll be between them as well. If you'd like to come and hear more of, I don't know why you'd want to do that, but hearing more of me, I think you hear plenty of me enough, don't you? Herald's spawned now. And yeah, I was speaking to Jack Spencer about that Serpent's Fang. Yeah. Turns out Ivern kind of breaks build if you can build Serpent's Fang. Build it ASAP! Herald now started, anyone's legend looking to pull off the Wombo combo again.
Kyle gets jumped a little low. In comes the Tempered Fate to buy a bit of time. Kyle kind of going to the wrong side of the rift. Then will get knocked up and knocked out. Pop Blossom is great, and that blows up Flandre. Tarzan trying to go on forward, but leave. Buying so much time with a wonderful step, but will eventually go down. Supreme Display Talent goes wide. Shockwave on 3. Shank tries to turn around, but gets stunned up by Doinby. He walks straight into the face check of the Disintegrate. And Doinby throws out a last auto, laughing at Shanks.
Solo kill shows us yet another example of full contact team fighting. I'm sure we'll get a replay of this. Anyone's legend try and jump on the Kiana, but have to play defensive because of the Ornn ultimate. Solo kill, that ultimate, I'm convinced it just saved that fight. The Herald's gonna go to the side of NIP, and that's gonna give them a lot more room to maneuver in this game. I was getting a little bit worried. Watch this here, the catch onto Nio is really good, but look how Solo kill responds. The ult comes across, and that ultimate from Kyle can't be capitalized on. They have to play defensively because Solo kill slaps them back.
And Doinby and Leave come from off vision through that mid lane line bush, jump on multiple members with their ults rolling. The shockwave looks great, and Doinby just gets another stun.
I mean, he kind of has to pull it out, try and get some damage back, but realistically, he's dead. Shanks goes down. And now NIP reclaim themselves that gold lead. Got a dragon in a minute. Herald usable by NIP if they want to open up an area of the map. They might use it in the lead up to the dragon. That counterweight while you go to the dragon. Do you also have to respond to mid? It's often how Herald has been used since its inception, really. NIP back into the lead in anyone's legend. One fight around dragon isn't going to do it for you. You've got to capitalize more than that.
Good night, Trinity. Thanks for coming and joining us for game 1. I hope you get some good sleep in.
And there's a question, is Solo Kill the ex-EDG top laner? Yeah, there he is. He came in to replace Shanji partway through this year, and Solo Kill has really impressed me. I think actually most players on the EDG roster, once they've left that roster, have impressed
Monkey,
me.
Solo Kill.
Monkey, I think Vampire's been a lot better too. Leave as well. Solo Kill and Leave were both on the EDG Doom squad. Been a lot to talk about from that.
Angel stuck around and done all right for himself, to be fair, with the exception to that rule.
Well, basically, since Clear Love has left as coach, looks like well, I mean, you look at the data, it just seems to be like that.
I mean, JDG did just beat EDG.
That is true, though. That is true. So perhaps we revise that as the split goes on. Now, 15 seconds to the Dragon. I'm legally obliged to inform you that Sam did a half punch in the
I glanced
the full punch experience.
With a nail.
Yeah, Harold used to break up in bot lane out to turrets, not used onto mid lane. We've seen more of Harold used onto side lane turrets recently. Second charge likely to come in here unless Kyle wants to ult it. Now the problem is he doesn't have the ult for the... I actually wonder if that's a mistake. If they do want to contest... Well, okay, it's a mistake if they wanted to contest, which I presume they don't because Shanks is in top side. So I'll take that back. But they won't have that bird ult for clutch engage or disengage. Now, Dragon very likely going over towards NIP.
Pick up some turrets where they can. Worth noting that NIP with that secure on the structure to get themselves beat to strength. So they're going to be forced to flash then as Tarzan catches him inside the Cataclysm.
I actually wonder now, you see the Cataclysm down, you see the Tempered Fate down. Do NIP just look for a snap engage in the next minute if they can find one? Because they do see those two ultimates down. I don't think anyone's Legend will give them any option to, but that's the kind of thought process you have to have in terms of another... you noticed me talking about full contact team fighting earlier. It's one of my catchphrases, I suppose. Buzzwords, which help you learn about the game. The other one is cooldown economy. You look to slowly get away big tools and cooldowns, ultimates, summon as you can, and then you fight in the cooldown of them because you've got more skills to use. It'll get you kicked out of a casino, cooldown counting, but it's pretty reasonable here on Summoner's Rift.
Yeah, the real art is managing your cooldown economy so that your cooldowns are up around big team fights while your enemies aren't. If you can get the real value, like, oh my days, everyone's burned flashes, they're not going to have them for this big Dragon Soul fight, say less.
And typically, someone like Jarvan is one of his most important skills, because if you don't have flashes, Jarvan shoots up in value because you can't as easily get out of the Cataclysm. We're back out onto the map after resets now. Gold is within 2,000, slight advantage to NIP. We have to have that question about scaling now, because we've talked a lot about the Wombo combo from Anyone's Legend. On the side of NIP, I do think they do have some good scaling of their own, though. Now, they are, I would argue, outranged in terms of some damage, but that range feels a lot less usable when you've got an Ornalt and a Nico hyper-engaging onto you. NIP do have a great ability to explode the first target. They really do, and perhaps even 2 or 3 in the same Wombo, actually. I think if Solo Kill has another good ult, Anyone's Legend will really be struggling after that point. So, while I think Anyone's Legend do have some decent scaling options, and the Rumble is very nasty, NIP do have some big damage threats of their own.
Control wards all over the place right now. I think well, that was NIP walking over wards and not clearing them. Realised it was actually AL, and I got very confused for a second.
Well, I mean, no, I did just walk over control ward and not clear it as well. So it is in fact both. Fighting up the bot side, River!
Ooh, Supreme Despair Talent goes entirely wide. Tempered Fate will keep Tarzan in one piece. On the other side, though, pick onto Kyle, who goes down to Lee. Gets that one as his cultivation is fully engaged.
Jeez, NIP engaging on 2 different picks at the same time. Normally, you'd say that's a bit greedy, but it works out well here. Kyle goes down, Shanks loses Flash, so that's a big summoner used, and NIP used ultimates, but not summoners.
Shockwave comes along, as does the Equalizer, burns out. They do just get the pick with some incidental damage. Tarzan goes in with the Cataclysm, helps force NIP away from this turret.
Okay, good kill back onto Nyket, so both supports now down and out of action. The AL are the ones that use the summoners. We'll see whether NIP can actually utilize that, because they still have Flash on Kiana, on the Annie. Perhaps that can go to something later. Atakan headed towards Anyone's Legend, though. Of course, that spawned an NIP. Maybe some worries now that they can't contest this. They're teleporting in. It'll be at about 2/3 HP by the time that they arrive.
Over they go now. There comes that teleport from Duenby. Got Flash, no ult, but can look for the stun nonetheless. Kyle trying to keep Solo Kill out of this. Duenby looking to get some value on him, but they
stolen!
Steal from Nio. It's not been a fun game for the Kiana, but there will be a laugh from the Empress of Ixtal. That is nicely done.
You can have your chicken. I'll take the Atakan. Different option on the menu as the smite rings true from Nio. NIP get themselves a huge steal under the nose of anyone's legend there, who would have thought they'd had a clean run at that objective. NIP truly in this game now. Go into the replays, you know, Doombee's threatening a big Annie. Flash in, Q with the Earth Blade for the extra damage below half HP. Gets the smite, great secure there by the jungler. The LDL player who's worked his way up into LPL over the last 2 years or so, making a big impact here.
Ang, step aside. You found a new avatar in town, and her name is Kiana. Looking fabulous here, the mistress of all the elements out there. Doing it with style and smugness.
Yeah, the good avatar, you know, rather than the blue skin one. Solo kill, gonna get equalized on the bot side, does have flash. I'm not sure he's making it out of this one, folks.
He's going to run away, but I think he might just be and take this one with a little grain of salt as he solo
Hang on,
kill.
his ult's
but actually,
coming up.
Yeah, you turn it all around. Over comes the call. The force got across 2. They do lose no cap for it. As Nayo ends up ulting inside the Cataclysm.
Tarzan flashed out of it. He wanted to catch Tarzan. Tarzan flashing, going in for another flag drag.
Shockwave flashed away from Solical, who's still alive, by the way. Oh, Leave completely transcends himself. Can't get more than one. Nice attempt, though. Trapped to the tower. Tarzan can't get the kill on Solical still. Nayo running towards the bush, and this bot side wave has got the grass blade to work with. Flandre very low. Needs to be very careful about overstepping forward. The double solo lane here. His Hope is hunting for... Hope, how are you there?
Just cut off. They're trying to chase down too many members. Nayo is still alive. He can maybe burst out one person if things go badly enough. But if he dies, he won't be up for... The dragon is alive. This is super important.
May well be. Trying to buy some time. Good damage back onto Tarzan, but can't quite get the burst. And Tarzan survives.
And now the smite is dead for the dragon. That's why it is comical, the running around the rosies. Oh, whatever it is, ring around the rosies, that's it. Whatever. But the fact that the smite is dead means that with dragon alive, perhaps anyone's legend could have forced third dragon.
Still, Hook being dead. We'll have a look again, because it all starts with this attempted pick onto solo kill. We thought, it's a done deal. And then actually just gets to buy a lot of time.
The hilarious thing is that this is the guy that doesn't die. I was thinking, oh, he's certainly dead. He is an Ornn at the end of the day, and maybe I underestimated that. And then a couple of huge things happen, you know. Big ultimates cast across the board. I know it looks a little comical with the, but Kiana ulted inside the Cataclysm. See, he's trying to catch the Jarvan inside that, because he can stun him against his own wall. Tarzan a good flash there to make sure he's not trapped inside the terrain.
Back towards life we go. AL on top of the dragon. Should be able to pick this one up. Nayo not really around to be able to steal that one, as you said. Was dead. And so, this whole point goes the way of anyone's legends.
Third dragon for anyone's legend will be very important as the game goes on. We're still in a tight gold game. We're getting to the point where these team fights, you know, one more could end the game, actually, this one, or tilt it into oblivion, because the next one will probably give over the Baron, which is spawning now. We have 2 going on 3 items. Leave, he's been trying to carry some of these fights in terms of DPS. Very close to doing so, actually. All it takes is one fight from the Nymaera, and they can really start to rip through those HP bars. Anyone's legend don't have anyone that can really survive that amount of damage coming through. And serious credit to Tarzan. Tarzan was given this early lead, and I know he's died there 2 times or whatever. Look at that last fight in the Wombo combo, which he's been setting up. He's been so threatening to NIP. Very important to track that value of that Cataclysm, especially with flashes largely down.
Baron's up. Nayo, of course, with that clutch steal on the Atakan. A great spot. It does feel like, for all the focus often been on the jungles with the most on-screen intricacies happening, NIP have actually been able to brute force well, and credit particularly to Doombe and Leave. Leave has been farming exceptionally, gotten a lot of damage done in the team fight, has now got an upgraded Infinity Edge, once known as the Molten Edge. I still remember you old Worn item names. And Doombe's on this. Annie also been really strong. The Baron, though, being started on screen. Makes that one happen. Down to 6,000
needs to teleport in. Flandre is teleporting in now, but there's going to be a flip.
And the Fate will buy a lot of time. Call of Forge Gold coming across. Good knock-up. Supreme Display of Talent is completely off, but the smite is not. Nayo ends up getting a hold of that, and Tarzan will likely die here. Gets a Cataclysm as a last shot before he goes. Hope backing away. Baron is secured by NIP.
Okay, heist secured. NIP get themselves the Baron and the teleport out of Flandre as well. It's another bad Supreme Display of Talent, which catches no one. Now, his smites have been good. Might need to check out the Archie, though. That one's been a little less accurate. NIP, they do see a 5v4. They'll lose themselves the mid lane outer turret, but they get themselves a big objective to potentially secure the map. Start opening up these side lanes now.
W empowered now. Nayo will join up with Doombe to help bring down that turret and start to accelerate. It's only their second turret of the game, so a lot of standing gold to pick up.
That's true. It's a really good point, AL. Only just got their third as well. It's been a largely low kill in terms of tower game. Now coming in, doesn't have that ultimate to slam into the wall, otherwise that would have been much more threatening. So anyone's legend, they're looking to play around the Soul Dragon in 2 minutes. The Baron will have fallen off by then. The NIP will have at least reset and gotten themselves that gold to go into that fight with as much resources as possible. Ornn items ticking up, as you mentioned, onto the Nymaera. A couple of others will be coming through after this point too.
Spirit's cultivated for leave, and again, he's at 3 items and has largely managed to get a lot of work down this game. 10 stacks on the Dark Seal for Doomby, who found a lot of clutch catches. Anyways, I feel like this has been a game of that Annie finding those picks. 1.5 until Dragon, worth noting, of course, with that last debacle around solo kill. The Soul Point was still picked up by Ale. That might be their way back in.
Second Tarzan drops the flag down. Worth noting that Doomby, I'm going to call out Harold in chat, actually, has highlighted that build, has gone towards the Rylai second. We saw this a lot more when Annie first came back into the meta, and this was much more of a thing back in 2023, where in fact there was more the Leandries into the Rylais there. But basically, once you drop the Tibbers, it makes it much harder to escape someone running at you. What Doomby can do is, he's doing a great job of being the extra peeling threat, actually, saying, okay, you're jumping in as the Jarvan, you're getting stunned up in front of the Yunara who can rip through you, and then you're slowed on the way out as well. That then ends up hitting someone like the Orianna or the Corki, be very threatening. Minute till Dragon, we start thinking about the setup, start thinking about the item breakpoints. I just saw that a shield bow was bought for leave there. This could be the game-deciding fight. If AL actually commit to it, there is a chance that they do leave it.
That opportunity to just give it up and try and farm their way up to the 3rd item, which wouldn't entirely be foolish. I think in some ways I can see the thought process there. And look, the wards are not present right now for the side of AL. They've got a single control ward in this pixel bush, and that's being fought over right now anyway.
It's not exactly going to be flanking vision from AL. I don't think they really want to flank anyway. I think if they do, they die. They want to be grouped up as 5. Tarzan has to find a huge angle. Him or Kyle. Those are the two which you have to look at. It's on the jungle support of anyone's legend. So often the beating heart of this team. Nio. Oh, vision.
Look for an angle. Shanks is forced to flash. Gets knocked up. Grass blade. Supreme display of talent goes nowhere.
He tries to hit him into the wall. Doomby's got him covered though. Doomby flashing forwards.
Really doesn't matter because everyone else follows up. But I had a whole line prep for the stun into the wall, and instead, Nio just says, hold my beer, I guess. They turn back towards the Dragon.
If he wins this game,
This counthouse required.
Oh, God. I mean, if you ever want an example of, is a jungler more than a smite key, you point at this game and you say, no.
No, they're not. I feel like I have been reduced.
God. It's like, who would win? Greatest LPL jungler right now, or one smitey boy?
This is just incredible.
Oh, he goes towards...
Just overshoots. The audacity takes him too far.
The thing is, if he'd actually just hit the Jarvan instead and stunned Tarzan into the wall, arguably it would have been much better as well. Ah, Jesus. All right, NIP got the Dragon. They do deny that. Nothing else big has happened. We don't have Baron for the next 2 minutes. Where to go next, Sam? Where to go next?
Shieldboat's got done for leave. He's 3,000 gold up.
Cool.
That's cool.
Actually, that was done about 4 minutes ago.
Was that the 4th item?
Yeah.
Because I thought he just had the Noon Quiver in inventory for a while and went and built a full Noon.
And then, but also Noon Quiver goes into Shield.
Yeah, so he's had another Noon Quiver come in, so he just put that one up.
Yes.
Anyway. Nio.
Tarzan on the flank.
Yeah. Could look for something. He needs to get onto a lot of people. That supreme display of talent a little better. Ends up hitting 3-4 people around the red buff. Shockwave comes back with the Tempered Fate, delays a lot of follow-up. Kyle very low, looking for the Cosmic Binding. Nyket with the Pop Blossom. 1-for-1 right now as Doomby dies. Flanve looking to try and get involved here. His hope needs to try and get that, but will not do so. As Leave just unleashes. Late game Yunara. Nio just about goes down as Shanks will Clockwork wind him down. But Nyket throwing out some Empired Autos with the shape changes should be able to get that with the Blooming Burst.
Support kill for Nymaera to end off the game, and NIP, despite the early jungle pressure, team fight their way into a lead against our reigning champions, fallen down to the lower bracket in game 1.
We'll be winning game 1 and do so in style. It wasn't always pretty style, but when it worked, it was fantastic. And Atakan, Steel, Leave and Doomby flexing their muscles, and AL, once the plan goes out the window, what's going on, guys?
That is the question. Anyone's legend. knocked down to the lower bracket by Wombo. Now facing against NIP, they are huge favorites in both of those series. And yet, knocked down here, and now 0-1 on NIP's home stage in this playoffs.
I've got to call it out, right? Their draft is cool. They've got themselves Rumble, Orianna, Jarvan. Outside of the early game, where I actually think Tarzan and Kyle played a pretty okay game here in general, when was the last time we saw a good Shockwave combo with a good equalizer with the Cataclysm round? Once, early on when they won that fight?
Yeah.
Is that it?
There was the early Dragon, and then it really felt like AL struggled to get those clean team fights. And considering that Anyone's Legend, I think that they were, for large parts of this year, either best or second best objective setup team in the LPL alongside the other one, which is Top Esports, I think, actually, on the whole. This is really, really concerning. Now, Anyone's Legend started the split, came back from the international break, and we thought, okay, it'll take a little bit of time to roll up. End of the split, Anyone's Legend looking like one of the best teams in the league, clearly top 3, even with a 0-2 loss to WE. It was in a match which didn't matter, so I tend to just I grade that out for, well, whatever. Perhaps that was a sign of something more there, losing against a team that didn't even make playoffs. Anyone's Legend, this is danger territory now.
And I've got to call it out as well, like, if you were losing to a jungler who looks like their first time in Qiyana on stage, like, that ain't pretty. You've got yourself one of the most comfortable, potent comps in the meta. This Jarvan, Ori, Rumble style combo. With the Corki bot side, you've got Kyle on the Bard. And yet you're losing to a Qiyana that's fumbled early, has missed up a load of smites. And yes, actually, let's give credit where it's due on NIP. Great game from Lee. Really solid on the Unara, dancing around those team fights, not being in pursuit to get womboed.
I think Doomby was fantastic.
Exactly. Was the other person I want to come to. That Annie was exceptional. Lots of really clutch picks. And yes, that's good news, but for AL, those flags that we've been kind of, I don't want to say dismissing because that's not quite true, but we were saying, oh, they'll sort it out. They don't have much more time to sort it out, Al.
No, they don't. And this time I'm not going to blame it on draft. We called that out. So, a lot of that game, look, as commentators, if an underdog starts winning, a lot of the time you want to focus on the stories there. But realistically, what is happening with Anyone's Legend? I mean, brief moments of greatness there. I actually think Kyle on the Bard still had a pretty solid game. I liked a lot of his ultimates, particularly managing to catch out people and using it offensively and defensively. I thought Kyle actually had a decent game. So where were the problems there from Anyone's Legend? I mean, I think it's more of an overall cohesion issue.
For sure.
I think that, the way that they were approaching some of these fights and the way that they played around Vision was a little worse. Shanks on a very risky champion to play here in the Orianna, and just look at the damage there. Just no one putting out great damage, and Leave just tore through them.
Yeah, and again, like, if you're going to run that Orianna build as well, which I think he was going for a slightly higher damage build and not really get a big value there. Hope did an amount of damage, but again, he's been eclipsed by Leave. Flandre, how many times did he get caught out?
I think the way I'd phrase it now, thinking back through it, is while I wouldn't say people had terrible games, a lot of people in AL had quiet games. Flandre had one or two ultimates that game, which were really good. I think Shanks had basically no impactful shockwaves, maybe one again, and Hope. I mean,
What did he do?
I don't think he did that much either. So while I wouldn't say that any of them were individually game losing on their own, I would say a lot of the members of Anyone's Legend were quiet, and that is, you want anything but that for a team which is gunning for the top spots. You do not want them to be quiet.
And I hate to say it, it's not a hard comp to play in a lot of ways. You all press R on the target that your jungler says you're going on.
And I have to say, this team fight is wonderful.
It is.
If you want to see an LPL special, this is it. You get engaged on, and you don't defend your carry in the same way that other regions do. You jump on the enemy team and make sure that they can't follow up. This is what we call full contact team fighting, and it's one of my favorite things about this region. And I think Solo Kill on the Ornn has a shot at MVP here, actually. I think that this Ornn was insane to me.
It was really good. I think it probably does go to Doomby, but I think
was also insane.
But there's some honourable mentions to Solo Kill with some really clutch ults. Leave for the good DPS checks as well. It was a good game from NIP. And again, this is when NIP have been at their best. It's Leave and Doomby looking dangerous. They were today. They were in this game. Solo Kill getting away with this is ridiculous. AL overforced it way too hard. And I think they were perhaps a little disrespectful of what NIP were bringing to the table, actually, despite some early advantage they managed to accrue.
Yeah, and I have to, I know Carls was saying, is it a draft diff in game one, or just saying it is draft diff? I don't necessarily agree with that either. Anyone's Legend had the tools to potentially dunk down on these carries. There are definitely ways where you can approach objectives and just kill the carries behind the front line. I think there are plenty of options for that. I think that largely, it's hard to say this about anyone's Legend, I think they were out vision controlled and out macroed a lot of it. They were caught off in nasty spots, and it says a lot that Nio can play like this on the Kiana and still walk away with the win. This Kiana got some great smites down, and that's obviously a big part of jungling. But realistically, if a Kiana is missing most of the ults in this game, I know this one was actually pretty good in terms of the actual splash damage and whatever, I do think that, you know, this Kiana should have realistically lost them the game. And it didn't end up being that way. So that's our game 1 done, folks. The 1 best of 5 today. First game down into it. If you don't know who we are, my name is Nymaera. This is Initialise. We're brothers. We cast the LPL because there is no official broadcast anymore. There are lots of co-streamers like ourselves that are trying to keep up the coverage of this region. You know, co-streaming kind of took away the viewership from the main broadcast. The main broadcast collapsed, and now, realistically, where do you go to get consistent coverage of this? At a high level? It has to go back to, you know, the people that have stuck around, the people that are LPL centric. We're not going off the co-stream, the LCK or anything like that. We're not supported to do this anymore, though. That's what it means to not have an official broadcast. We're not paid to do this. We're doing this sat out of our bedroom, doing our best to bring you our own talents and our own knowledge of this region. If you enjoy what we do, please stick around. Enjoy yourselves, of course. And like, comment, subscribe. Those things do genuinely help us, because the more eyes on our product, the more likely we get this to a point where it's actually self-sustainable, and actually where we're, you know, just ad revenue and perhaps your own subscription money as well can help us get through this as well. There are a lot of games as we'll find out our MVP, and then we'll go on a bit of a break after that.
It will be doing B, and in fairness, really good game. You can't, like, we've seen a lot of Annie games where Annies end up bleeding a lot of resources, not doing all that much, feeling a bit impotent post a certain point in the game. Not this time. Doing B, consistently doing lots of damage, being really obnoxious, finding lots of picks, not dying very much. Yeah, well, died once this game, you know, that's just good value for him. And is the talismanic player returned to pro play to say, you know what, I've seen all these mids, I can do what they do, but just so much better. Great win to split into a mediocre spring, but managing to climb his way back. He's basically just doing unranked to LPL champions out.
Hey.
The content's there, guys. He knows what he's doing. He knows the meta.
No one quite does it like him. Alrighty, we're going to go on a quick break, folks. We'll put on some adverts, and we'll go to... Remember to keep hydrated. We definitely need to keep doing that as well. And,
do you want another coffee, Al?
I would love another coffee if that's good.
I can sort that.
Cheers.
好久不见。
关闭车窗，空调调到22度。
好的，都搞定了。你好，很高兴我们重新认识。
把生活玩出新意。 自由自在，灵感随行。
用个性的方式画世界，
让眼界突破边界，
让远在天边，近在眼前，
让每一刻精彩不再等待。
上京东搜游戏台式机，游戏主机低至8折抢。
京东。
월드 때마다 집에 보내드렸던 것 같은데 이번에도 하나 없을 것 같습니다. 최선을 다해 플레이하는 것 같아요.
챔피언으로 참가했고 챔피언으로 떠날 계획입니다.
여기는 LCK가 아니고 월즈이고 월즈는 T1에게 적합한 무대라고 생각합니다.
5번째 우승은 여러분을 위한 것입니다. 미래를 원한다면 증명하세요.
我觉得我们队伍最需要解决的问题就是资源团的落位问题。根据今天这场比赛也能很明显的看出，每次别人资源团的时候，野区远古资源的视野都会比我们更好吧。今天遗憾落败的原因，更多还是我们整体队伍协调性做的比对面差很多吧。目前看下来的话，我觉得他们是一个非常强劲的对手吧，我们需要更加认真的去对待。以至于哪个英雄更有威胁，我觉得要好好想想对面5个人的英雄，而不是某个英雄。应该对每个位置的人都要予以尊重。我目前的心态其实算比较良好吧，因为我觉得我们队伍从组建为止走到今天也非常不容易了。我甚至没有想过我们可以进季后赛吧。接下来也是能走一步，能走多远，可能都是我们命中的一部分吧。即使前路艰难险阻，我们也应该砥砺前行，争取再赢多一把。
Oh yeah, Gemini Cup started today. Now the thing is, because a lot more people in playoffs tend to come in without watching our other stuff before, I don't like doing as much of that stuff on stream, because I think more people get put off with it than the regular stream audience. I might do some of the Gemini Cup stuff later in break. Howdy. Last time I got shopping, got some eggs in. And
one got cracked or something.
3 of them got cracked,
oh,
Sam.
God.
So there was I had to do a lot of cleaning up shit. So, but the problem was, I had that iced tea bottle, had egg on it. So there's like dried egg on my table. I'm like, what the hell? It's fine. I'll sort out some other points. I don't really want to wipe stuff up while yeah. But how do my CMs go? Currently, in my first 2 tickets, I'm 9-1. I am, guys. I have really, really got a good setup for Gemini. Yeah. Basically, and by the way, this is completely irrelevant. You can come follow me if you want and use I got it. Don't worry, I'm giving it.
Otherwise.
But yeah, basically, I rolled a 8-star stamina, 7-star long Medroma Queen, which has really good aptitude with all of the characters you want, really, in Gemini. So I just used that as my parent run, and that's now, I think it's been borrowed like 500 times now, by the way. And you too could be one of them. And it also has Straightaway Spurt as well. So Straightaway Spurt, 8-star stamina, 7-star long. It is kind of correct. Hey, Mabby, how's it going? Oh yeah, it's all Mabby. Yeah, you borrowed it like 50 times. You know what? I can actually check. Oh wait, no, I can't because I can only save the last 100. I think we're getting into draft now, though, folks, and we shall see what happens in game 2. Electric Boogaloo. Oh wait, no, that faded camera gets me. I always think that.
I know. It happens to me as well. Yeah, I hear your horse game, but look, Genshin.
Oh, you're getting Genshin. Oh, so we're just different gacha.
Yeah,
different gacha
it.
addicts. Perfect.
I got Lauma C2.
Huh?
I got Lauma C2.
I don't know who that is.
It's the Dendro Deer woman with the back issues.
Oh my god!
With the significant back issues.
You did. Yeah, they're really going full Zenless Zone Zero.
Yeah,
right
like there is some very large and experienced reasons to.
Great
big tracts of land. Still, genuinely the most incredible sketch in Monty Python history. Oh, I want you to consider me your father in a very real, very legally binding sense.
God, alright. You. What a way to lead into draft. Hello again, we're back for game 2 of this series. Anyone's Legend are down a game right now. They'll go on to blue side. Getting the Galio, the Alistair band away from NIP. I don't really know what the Alistair band signifies. Do you want to first pick a Trundle?
Would be my thinking. And it is, in fairness, potentially a big one for Tarzan, because I don't think it's the Jarvan. Great setup. Isn't going to allow Tarzan to be a hard carry necessarily, right? Like, you've got some good upfront burst, but in some ways you tee people up for other people to finish off, and that wasn't happening. If you're going towards the Trundle, you can actually be something more of an individual threat in a fair number of matches. The other side, though, getting rid of the Poppy. Big pick for Kyle. Obviously, Tarzan plays it too. The Azir as well, obviously a big Shanks pick. Just a comfort option in general. I wonder whether a Pantheon or a Talia comes on forward. I will note the Rise and the Pantheon both up. So may end up seeing one or the other getting through. They are going to ban the Trundle in response.
I think the Alistair ban sig, that telegraphs the Trundles. The Trundle goes out, the Talia's gone. What are your priorities? There are things like, did you mention the Wukong?
No, I didn't. No, that's a good
call. So it is going to be the Rise. That's a takeaway from Doonby. Doonby is, of course, incredibly good at this, and Shanks is proficient at the pick as well. So now Doonby has to go against the Rise without Galio, without Talia, without Orianna. I guess Aurora is the pick that you'd think afterwards.
Pretty solid. We've seen a lot of that matchup where the Aurora does well early, and then kind of it gets harder as the game goes on, and Rise just side lanes more efficiently. Pantheon, though, still gets locked in with the Trundle down as well. You don't have that nice individual matchup. Locking in the Victor alongside it, so a bit more of a defensive option for Doonby, but he is a big Victor player, and it allows you to play towards side lanes.
And it's also just good within. It's just good within lane. You know, it's less side laning than the Aurora, right? The Pantheon is that part of it. You don't have that strong a front line. You do have the anti-tank potential of the Victor. The Aurora, I do wonder whether the Aurora would have been a little nicer for that. Sion, Sivir, Rise into anyone's Legend have immediately just said, we are front to back in, baby. Solarkill will get the Ambassador. It's a fine matchup into the Sion. They are not as set up for this front to back 5v5s though. Flandre on Sion is terrifying, realistically. NIP, we now have to think about, well, what do they do in their bot lane now to try and contest in 5v5 or open up another win condition?
So,
Kai'Sa, I guess.
Yeah.
But then I wonder whether AL actually ban that out and say, okay, not gonna give you that. Anyone's Legend, they need to be afraid of dive comps coming through and stuff that can play around side lanes, but there aren't that many AD carries which support that. The only other one I can think of right now is something like Jhin or Zeri, maybe. Zeri might be okay here for leave.
That is the angle. We're going to ban out the Shin's house. The double AD skirmish is gone now. Of course, in general, just the jungle ban focus from NIP is pretty damn heavy. It's realistically 4 if you count the Poppy as that primarily, which it largely is these days. The Zeri ban, I think, potentially smart here. You could, I suppose, Jin is another option that Leave does like to go towards and be a big CC follow-up to something like the Pantheon.
The Jin or Zeri? Zeri's the one that's gone. Senna's not bad either, actually.
Leave is a great Senna.
You will have to leave tank killing to the Ambassador and the Victor, because you don't do that yourself. But you can stack up the Black Cleaver for the Pantheon and the Ambassador fairly well if you build it, or of course they can do it for you. Anyone's Legend now looking to round out their comp with jungle support.
I'm getting flashbacks to yesterday.
Yeah.
On with the step forwards to get the stack off a tank and dying for it.
Someone had the audacity to tell me that Arn didn't throw that game, and I saw the pearly gates for one brief second, Sam.
But there was within 12 hours, LPL Inter put up an edit of Arn doing unspeakable things.
Wonderful.
Anyway, it's fine. We move. Leona gets locked in. There's another big engage tool. You've already got CC locked down from the Rise, a bit more conditional, but still good. Leona sets up for you, and now the carry for Tarzan in the Neferi. He and Kanavi, for my money, were probably our two most prolific and dangerous Neferi players, and they still go back to what they Drat allows for.
So Anyone's Legend just locked in double melee, so the Braum picks up a lot of value. That gives you good laning value versus the Leona. Sivir will be fine in lane. They'll just get to clear for forever. But now there is something to be said about having a little bit more frontline. With the Alistair gone, the Braum is the best one available for that. I think Anyone's Legend come away with a better 5v5 front to back. NIP do not have the tank potential to really sit and tank up the Sivir and the Rise, but they do have Senna, Pantheon going onto a side lane. If you do end up getting that Pantheon on someone, the Ambassador ultimate follow-up is pretty big. But NIP don't have great engage.
No, they don't.
If they do want to pick off an AoE team fight, it's pretty hard for them to choose the angle for that. So NIP,
very reliant on Nio.
NIP, pretty hard composition to play. Anyone's Legend, I think they have solid lanes, great scaling. This will allow them to play around objectives a lot more solidly. And we'll hope that they play better around objectives than they have done recently. It has been a little bit of a concern for them. That's one of the reasons they're down here in the lower bracket. Let's get into game 2 of the series.
And I will note, of course, you are still running a lot of melee engage into Braum, into Victor Gravity Field, into Sion, into even Senna, right? Very good at pulling away from that with the Curse of the Black Mist, with the healing coming on through as well. For all your ability to go forward is a little less obvious, a little less easy, either free balling an Ambassador or flash shield vaulting. The defensive tools, your ability to punish a Leona or a Rise or a Neferi diving in to get a fight started is very, very heavy as the shields and CC chains come on through. Some very interesting fights, make no mistake about it. But those musings will have to wait for the Gyos to finish. Hope we all saw the fact that NIP banner was the wrong way around. Wonderful, massive NIP banner, just 90 degrees the wrong way.
Right.
180, I can't do that. That's fine. Niall. Now I'm going to jump on... Math. Yeah, that's very American of me. Mathematics. It's not a singular mathematic.
Yeah, multiple mathematics.
Okay. Maybe there's a unified theory.
What does that mean?
Then you have a mathematic. Just
well, there are different.
Singular.
Well, I mean,
that's what the study is.
I mean, technically, there are things which unify them. Like there is. I look really good. Sure, whatever. My favorite mathematical equation, yes, I do have one, is e to the I pi equals -1. And the reason that's important is because it does unify multiple different areas of science and maths, and it comes up with a very clean answer. It's very cool. Into the laning phase, less about science, more about blood.
What about an equation that gives consistently the answer 80085?
You're back on your whatever character from Genshin stuff again, aren't you? Okay. Level 1 between the Senna and Braum, the Sivir Leona. Going fine for the Sivir right now. Gets access to the wave, gets the early level 2. Sivir very rarely loses level 2 shoves, really. Especially with Varus now out in the meta. Varus has died. Varus isn't really in meta now. I think the death to poke Varus means that Varus is just not really as much of a threat in laning phase anymore. Some minions lost under tower, but some souls picked up. You're blocked out by the shield.
Yeah, Varus, there was a match yesterday. We had Varus v Misfortune. Varus was 2 and 5. Misfortune was 1 and 3. It wasn't exactly the most inspiring of win rate numbers across playoffs.
Worth noting as well, Hope, an incredible Civic player. For those of you who know less about Hope, because let's be honest, he wasn't Ruler or Jaculov, all these crazy names. Guys, Hope beat Jaculov in a crazy 5-game series of finals on the Civic meta. In the most AD carry-centric meta we've had in the last however many years. Hope was the LPL champion on stuff like the Civic, despite him being one of the oldest AD carries in the LPL, just showing that it doesn't have to matter. Great shield there from Nymaera, actually. Allows him to go back onto Kyle, and get a good trade here.
Does look like it will be well managed there, to say the least. Solo kill as well, worth noting. Had a very good showing on the Ambassador as well, with one of his better carry options. Tarzan now bot side, though.
Ooh, good block on the cannon. Good double Q there from Hope as well. And you're right, Tarzan is here. Leave does not have that much to play around, and they really want to shut him down. Leave on the center is disgustingly good too, by the way. Got some world records on the center stack, and they're going to go for the turret reset aggro with an Fury W.
In comes the heal, the door to buy some time. Flash out from Leaf is solid, rooted onto the turret, takes turret aggro, and that gives some resets. Tarzan, whoa! It goes beautifully for NIP. Sure, they lose Leave, but he'll be dusting his shoulders off after that one.
That's going to fund Leave his early Swiftness boots at 4 minutes. That is luxury. Leave in the bot side, and we were just saying that Leave on the center, he is someone who has been breaking world records on stacking champions this split. This guy is a man unleashed on anything with the stacking mechanic. Just let him play Nasus AD carry for all I care. Got himself 19, was that 16? Okay, no, it's just
10 in a minute. That's still pretty good at 4.
Yeah, 4 minutes. Like, he's been doing some fantastic work. And I thought, wow, they're going to reset the tower aggro with the Neferi. They start with the Leona. No auto attack damage coming through from Hope because the door is fantastic from Nightcat, and the passive is applied onto everyone. Honestly, Nightcat, wonderful support play that to help his AD carry survive.
This is a support who was brought up knife fighting with Jachi in the bot lane. They were Draven players, they were Nymaera players. They know all about early dives, they know all about early skirmishing. There are other parts of the game that need a bit of work. Of course, you're new to this level of play, it makes sense, but still. After however many games, after however much time playing with the likes of DoingB and Recruit, he's starting to get it as Nightcat. I really rate this guy. I think he's going to be cool in a year or two.
And for a little while, I was a little bit worried about LPL support pool. And I thought, you know what? We've lost Ming. Mako was looking shaky for a while. Hung was really playing poorly.
Missing's gone.
Missing was falling off as well, particularly post-2023. And I was thinking, well, what's going to happen with the next generation of LPL supports? I was worried. And then we had Jway, Nightcat. I think Vampire's been good too. Palkia has been fantastic. You know what? I've got a little bit more hope than I did before for that particular role within the LPL. Now, anyone's legend, I think that they have the best support within the region. Kyle has been monstrous in this year, particularly within the LPL. Despite some of the failings of the team, he on an individual level has actually remained very good. It would be a big statement if NIP could win through good jungle support play against anyone's legend, the best in the region this year at that particular duo.
5-1 went wrong. That's tools to work with now on both sides. And Tarzan's back, calls the pack to summon all of the hounds available. Leave, though, cuts down the curse of the black mist and makes sure he's pretty much untargetable.
I just love that whenever anyone walks into the lane, Leave's like, ooh, another person to stack off of. Goes, I could put more damage on the Leona. No, I want the double stack and the soul off of the Fury. That's often something which center players have to do. You double tap someone, wait for the cooldown to come off, double tap them again. While that's on cooldown, go hit someone else. CS very even between our two AD carries. Hope is stacking up a Cull. See he'll get some more value from that. Are we going to see a contest over this? Pantheon is walking down.
Into Kyle. Good sweeper there, probably required. Be all right here. I think walking into this river now gets challenging. Realm Warp coming on through. Leave will put down the curse of the Black Mist and get out of range and stop being targetable again. Flash from Kyle. Gets to the back end, but it's onto Nightcat. That's pretty deep into a Braum. And just more stacks for Leave.
Yeah, Leave just walks up and says, ooh, another person to hit. Doesn't actually get the double stack off of Shanks. And that's why Kyle went forwards. Another W landing, this time on the Dragon. The smite should come through.
You get the smite back, but the passive comes on through from Braum. Concussive blows landing. Can't quite get the kill. Flash on forwards. Dark and Dagger, not enough. Does finally get the bleed. Leave with another route on the Tarzan. Health bars Mael desperately low. Heal comes on point. Nio needs to get over the wall. They just don't quite have the damage.
So close. A flash invested by Tarzan to get the 1 kill. The Dragon was put there too, but I'm a little bit worried that they invested a lot of summoners for that, and now Pantheon is ulting in.
Kyle needs to be a bit wary. In comes the Zenith, but Nio's very low. Does get the kill. Each still comes on forward. Nugget, heal, tries to go forward to the Unbreakable. Won't be able to save his jungler as Tarzan got the bleed down. Doomby now behind. Damage onto Shanks, but the damage from Tarzan getting really nasty as he tries to call the pack. Caught on the gravity field. Gets stunned up. Nyket just out of danger, but no, the bleed from the daggers.
That bleed killing Nyket twice in about as many minutes. Tarzan starting to get really fed now. 4-1. Very, very powerful on a champion, which we haven't seen as much of as the years gone by. Was nerfed really into the ground, that Neferi. With 4 kills, perhaps we'll see a bit more of the top dog in the jungle making an impact here. NIP very close to getting value out of those early skirmishes, but AL just getting that extra couple of HP points in their advantage.
Just goes back and buys a straight up Shoji. Had a tunnler in inventory, now got 1,000 gold lead. Was before that play, what, 1-1? Got the kill in the tower dive, and that was about it. And now comes out of that skirmish around the dragon into that additional pick in mid lane. Fantastically ahead.
So close to getting the extra kill or two. Leave moving around the map to make sure he can get some extra souls from jungle camps to 33, not almost 9 minutes. Again, you're expecting something like, 50 something, 50, not 60 at 20. The average is about 53.
Is it really now? I thought it was still 60.
No. So in pro play, the average is about 53 at 20 minutes.
Okay.
Those are the stats. And he's more than halfway to that in under half the time, which is insane. Grub's now getting started though, and while we can talk about Leave stacking, the actual meat and potatoes right now is stuff like the skirmishes and the objectives, which AL are getting the better of right now.
Much so. And again, Tarzan, after that play, is now a main character. In the last game, he was on the job and did get the early individual lead, but wasn't really able to convert that into being a genuine win condition. At least in terms of having someone to follow up on what he set down. Now on the Neferi, oh yeah, you can be a carry. It's fallen away from the true heights of terror that the champion was at the beginning of the year with the initial Neferi rework, but it's still very scary, it's still very dangerous, and Tarzan, with the early Shojin, can build towards the Black Cleaver, and will become a real menace, especially if you can use your Call of the Packs well to mitigate what could be quite a tricky team to dive into as a melee champion.
NIP do need to keep an eye on these skirmishes. One or two more, and I think the game does get to a point where it becomes very, very hard to play quite quickly. Remember, NIP, they're not the ones which are winning 5v5 straight up. They are the ones which want to be winning skirmishes, winning through use of globals, potentially side lanes, and those quick picks from Ambessa, and the ultimates coming through from Pantheon and Senna to very quickly throw damage and an extra body into the play across the map. AL, if they get ahead, much too large chance to do that. League does have both summoners.
Does need to use them, though, as he ends up getting caught by the full combo, though. He's clean now. He cleansed. That's the one. That's the one. He's like, he just makes himself clean. Goes for a walk.
Yeah, I mean, lucky he doesn't have to use the flash there. Managed to keep that. And of course, with Senna, if you get to stay in lane, keep auto-attacking, your Q comes off, and you can start stacking and using your Q to heal. See right there. Actually do some value there. So again, just getting extra random bits of stacking coming through. Kyle doesn't have flash, worth noting. He switched over to the heal and the teleport. Got no Herald up just yet. Jungle support moving into the enemy side of the map.
Require an ult or two here, and the Kyle down here. Nio wins that smite fight, unlike last game over the Raptors. It was a bit annoying. Got the smites on the key objectives, but Raptors weren't really for him.
47 stacks already, Jesus. I mean, no, that's the negative. It's actually not a ult for cleanse trade. It's actually an ult for cleanse and stack trade.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Leave, he's pretty happy to be taking those. Anyone's legend. I mean, I will say it's very funny looking at Senna just doing ridiculous amounts of stacking and blah blah blah. Senna is actually going to have a hard time carrying this game. The Scion doesn't die particularly quickly.
How much does Black Cleaver and 100 stacks do? If Leave's on this kind of rate.
If Scion's 2 items with 1,000 W stacks, not that much.
And actually, we've got 25 seconds on Dragon, so we may have to pause on this conversation, but I am sort of curious as to sort of like how some of these team fights breaking down, because you're pretty happily liking ALs, and I see what you're talking about, right? Like, great scaling, good options to start fights up, all of these things look pretty solid for AL. But I am also just like looking at NIP going, Victor, Senna, with Braum and Pantheon and Gravity Fields and all these tools to potentially mitigate an Neferi or Leona going too deep. Like, do they not have their own ways to kind of punish in those 5v5 still?
Absolutely, as long as they don't die when they're soaking that engage, and that's the problem. I don't think they have the front line to consistently do that. I think we'll see some fights where Kyle or Tarzan will go too deep, potentially, and die. We'll see if that comes in here, actually. If Flandre is the one tanking, though, that is a problem.
Tarzan now on a potential engage angle alongside Kale the Glacial Fisher buys some time. Shanks on the back line though. He's not going front to back. Leave gets over the wall and flash for a second, but Tarzan over after. Can't blast going out to safety. Solo kill finally TP's in. The health bar's pretty damn low though, and that'll be a kill for Nio. Public execution lands onto the Sivir. Hope will not be springing very far, and certainly not eternally. Flandre gets a decimating smash, but solo kill gets another. Shanks needs to run more about. Blast Cone can't interrupt. Nice idea, but just out of range, and the zombie goes down. NIP with an incredible turnaround fight.
Was that a 4 for 2?
Yes.
All things said and done. NIP, a clutch fight in the bot side. Leave dies early, but the important thing is, just as we were highlighting, if it's Flandre doing the initial tanking, then AL feel good. He wasn't there at the start. If both top laners teleport in late, it vastly benefits NIP. They jump forwards onto lead, and I think that Nymaera does a great job of buying as much time as possible. It means that Hope, when he tries to follow, actually ends up having to leave the play very, very quickly. Then the teleports come in. Flandre is already quite low here, actually coming in. He only comes in under half HP. Solo kill at that kind of HP when the fight's already scattered and broken will do so much more work. This Ambassador just carried this fight. And NIP, that'll get him a lot of gold in pocket.
Shanks even Rune Prisoner mid-ult. We land root, it doesn't matter. Back to life goes Nymaera, likely does die. The daggers from Tarzan still dangerous. The skirmish power of this Neferi at 6 kills, not to be underestimated.
Absolutely not. Tarzan doing some great work here, jumping forwards again, trying to jump forwards onto Nio. That he's okay, but here comes Hope.
Last embrace with buying stunky people safe. Doinby with a good gravity field actually, but now potentially in dangerous. Tarzan goes on top of the gravity field. Hope really low. Nio's found him. I'm going to shield vault in. Piercing Darkness claims that one.
Tarzan, he has the ult over the wall. He's going in again. Does he have an E? He has a lot of damage, remember.
Got the reset on the ult. That's probably why I was thinking it was an option. Slowed down by Leave, though. Gets another good combo. Each assault required. Tarzan low. Remember, doesn't have the call the back, doesn't have an eviscerate. Caught in the gravity field. Slowed down again.
Spacing from Leave.
My days. He's already got 60 stacks. His range is getting pretty ridiculous already.
This is why you don't give Leave those stacking champions. The range could be a huge issue if you continue to skirmish like this. Can they stop the recall? Ooh. No, not quite. So anyone's legend. I mean, they don't lose a kill in that fight, but again, it's a bit of a check of, okay, all right, it's all good if you end up getting onto that first target with the Neferi. You cannot allow Leave to be the one to sit there, start DPSing though. Not bad from Kyle to threaten him across this game so far. He's done a good job of making sure that Leave can't completely stand and fight, but when you lose that solar flare, you're playing around that Pantheon E, great W there from Leave.
Hope ends up a bit awkward position here though, and ends up having to run to the turret, and we kind of missed the start of the damage coming on forward, but taking the double turret shots, that's how he ended up falling.
Yeah. Oh, not great from Hope there actually. Needs to be a lot better, and a great snipe through with a Q. No way to escape after that one into the bot side. This could be just a straight kill. Good W onto the ult.
Yeah, means that Public comes on through the Dawning Shadow. It just ends up being a 21-gun salute. Will not save the top laner.
All right, so that's what, another kill over towards Tarzan, or did they go towards Flandre? Yeah, it was went over towards him. Flandre currently has 0 kills. All right, good kill there. Solo kill. Need to stop him from having that much value. Leave can get himself potentially another stack. No, Tarzan presses the W to deny that. Harold is alive. Is it being fully taken by NIP? It looks like it. On the other side, though, first turret likely taken here by anyone's legend.
7 seconds. There's the picture-in-picture replay. Just good chunking there, and a bit of vengeance for the last play around the Dragon where Flandre came in chunked.
Yeah, Solo kill just didn't expect the Fury coming in. First turret actually doesn't go down here. They're not quite able to kill that. Solo kill could teleport in here to save the turret, but wants to save that summoner. Herald was peeled off of on the other side of the map, worth noting. So it wasn't fully finished by NIP. Solo kill could teleport up, looking for a good flight there. Flandre can recall, teleport in himself. He needs to teleport in early, though. That front line is so critical to anyone's legend.
Leave, now in danger. Flash. Fled. Does need to be careful as the redemption comes on for double redemption. Stays alive. Curse of the Black Myth value. Insane. Piercing Darkness keeps him alive as well.
Okay, Leave, you gotta play a little bit more safe than that. It's so easy for this Senna to get burst if he does get someone in range of him. I kept playing some good defense there, and these redemptions have been clutch. It does open up the Herald angle towards anyone's legend, though.
Leave back to half HP. Calculated right now. They burned a lot to get Leave and didn't succeed. Piercing Darkness. Last embrace. Flandre getting chunked out. He's not that tanky yet, actually. Loses about a third of his HP bar already. Tarzan low. Public execution. Well timed. Taken now by Nio. Shanks desperately low. Needs to start running away. Kyle now left in the front line. And the Behemoth of NIP get to roll on forward. In comes the Arcane Ray. A shield bot, and they get the kill onto Kyle.
NIP, another good objective fight from them. Leave is at 80 stacks now at 17 minutes while still farming as well. It's not like he's dropped farm for this, folks. And I keep talking about this because in that fight, you see how much range he's getting and how much he can just continually hold anyone's legend at bay if they don't land that critical engage. We were so close to it beforehand. NIP going to have to defend this play in the top side, though. Solo kill, maybe dead to the Scion ultimate.
Yeah, it does look like it'll be that way. Flashes away from it, but Tarzan calling the pack. The Roar of the Slayer. Solo kill will dash away as best he can. Does not have that much energy to work with the Dark In Dagger. Bleed. Plus a last auto from Flandre secures the kill.
Tarzan and Flandre trying their best to pick up something there. Herald picked up in mid lane. By the way, next objective will take the feats of strength because we've got first turret to one side and we have the kills on the other. That makes the things very important around this next dragon, which has spawned.
Worth noting as well because Tarzan was topside. He's not here to set up. He's only resetting now. Turret goes down in mid and NIP could just walk on over him.
And they can, going in towards that bot side jungle. Flandre, no teleport, no ult. Did they just give over the dragon for this? Perhaps. Flandre will have to walk his way down there. No hex gates on this rift. It is the Infernal Rift.
Leaves at 88 stacks at 18 minutes.
Okay, folks, we're going to have to track when he gets 100. I think 1940 something was what happened last time. Kyle dies in the mid lane. Quick kill, as anyone's legend thought. Surely they'll be rushing the dragon. No, not the case. Shanks and Tarzan are in bot side river now.
Tarzan gets over the wall. And again, I think we need to start reframing how Leave and Senna drafts look, because they come online so much earlier. They do so much more damage so much earlier.
No, perhaps he just breaks the champion. Maybe it's just a leave factor. AL, they are without their support for this, and Sion still doesn't have ult, so he can't engage the play either. NIP will get feats of strength and second dragon.
It's taken. There you go. Feat of strength secured. Upgraded Swifty boots for Senna. Oh, joy of joy. Second item is done for Nayo. And again, it still looks like AL don't have their own tools here. The gold lead is actually still slightly theirs. They've got a very scary Neferi. It's just we're looking at some of these ticking facts on the other side and going, hang on, this feels weird.
Before the replay, 94 stacks.
Oh my god.
It's going to be a rapid fire cannon, I think, on the way from Lee, so he's going to be even longer range. There's a Black Cleaver on the team too. And we look into this fight, the team fight positioning is just not it from anyone's legend. They have to blast cone their way into position, and it doesn't really do that much for them. Kyle flashes out immediately. The objective play was one of the best things to watch about anyone's legend before this split and before this playoffs as well. What has happened to the anyone's legend that won the LPL? NIP, this is a team at the start of the year we had our eyes on. Brought in Derby, in Fearless, perhaps he can make a huge difference. And then, you know, they had some limited results, but they didn't really do that much outside of one or two good series. They had a great series versus Top Esports back in winter, for instance, even though losing that 1-3 lead was so good. Now NIP, maybe we do have to revise things to say, you know what, maybe they finally clicked. Maybe finally the occasion has been made for them to stand up and be counted for. Doomby's going to get a top lane outer turret. NIP, they're not ahead in terms of gold, really, but I think they've got a real shot at this. 97 stacks at 20 minutes. Ridiculous from Leave. He breaks the champion. Perhaps NIP can break our expectations.
Our eyes when he hits that 100 marker. But again, it's not quite the 113, but this is still a very crazy rate. Make no mistakes about it. Just gonna go pick up the red buff as well. Atakan big start, and actually Leave and Victor aren't there.
Yes, this should likely be a free Atakan for AL. I don't think they can really engage in the way that they wanted to. They're going to check it with that. They know they're out of position. It's okay, I suppose. We'll see how many petals they'll get. Sivirol just popped.
They're trying to turn from Kyle, body blocking too, trying to keep Nayo out of the pit. Kyle left alone here. Atakan secured, Leave chunking up Flandre, who's getting slowed down by the continual autos. Forced to ult away, but does still end up rooted briefly at the end. How aggressive do NIP want to do this? They go inside the Curse of the Black Mist, make it quite difficult to turn around onto them. Here comes the Grand Starfall, can't quite get it. NIP can't punish anyone on the retreat outside of that Kyle.
And I'm sure AL think that's a big win. It was only 10 petals from the Atakan. Maybe that's why NIP felt okay with it. They're going to teleport up towards mid lane. Shanks could potentially Realm Warp here, but I don't think you really want to dive into the center Braum, especially again with 100 stacks just hit from Leave. Teleport behind. They just teleported away from this. This could be a problem.
They need to try and turn and fight this, and they are. Flandre's going to be absolutely blasted. Disappears inside the Curse, the Black Mist. Hard to target them. Overcomes home. And they go with Tarzan. Immediately rooted up. Leave still alive. He does so much work. Finally brought low, though. And the Dark In daggers fly across. Solo kill in the 1v4. It's a triple kill already for Tarzan. And Hope picks up the full house.
Anyone's legend catch NIP flat-footed as they teleported away from the bot lane. Even with Flandre dying so quickly at the start, Tarzan does the work. Massive damage from the 10-kill Neferi. Teleport, rather a Realm Warp to get the turret. The turret a little bit more under threat now with mites coming through. Remember, 3 grubs from Anyone's Legend. A huge swing from Anyone's Legend. We've been really worried about them, but a huge play there opens up the map.
The team fights had not been that clean, but the skirmishing, Tarzan, that's a different matter. You needed him to carry this game. He has just done so. Hope picking up his first kills of the game as well is great news. And all of a sudden, anyone's legend laying down a much better game state. 4,000 gold or so ahead. We'll have a look at the replay because it ends up with just that teleport costing him.
The spellbook teleport from the Leona really, really coming up clutch here. Some good spell bounces coming through from Shanks as well. And, you know, solo kill runs their way down, but it's just not soon enough. And while, you know, in the middle of this play, you might think, oh, well, Leave escapes. Does he really? The ricochet's coming through. Tarzan gets the double daggers down. Doesn't get nearly enough disengage this time in solo kill. Probably should have just left well alone. Doesn't get even a single follow-up kill.
He gets Kyle there, maybe you can start bouncing. We've seen what Ambest can do at 2 items. Solo kill can do at 2 items. Not this time. Now we've got Dragon spawning in 40 seconds. It'll be sole point for NIP. Need to reset and go again. You've got 2 items dodge across the board. Horizon focus for Doinb as Nymaera is low. Exhaust comes on out, flashes out. Dawning Shadow is great to keep people alive. Redemption too late to keep himself in. Doinb split off as Tarzan blasts the mid laner. Reset on the Hound's pursuit. So look at bouncing away. Nayo in the front line. Decimating Smash flashed out from an AL beginning to bounce around. Tarzan so scary. So is Shanks under the tier 2 turret. They try to bounce around with a public execution. Can't quite do it. While AL end up with the extra kill.
Doinb out of position makes that from an easy-ish 1-for-1 into actually a very good fight for AL. They should pick up the Dragon now, and NIP, they need to stabilize anyone's legend. Finding these gaps in the armor to make quick plays with the Neferi has really worked for them. Kyle is fine to die on all of these engages as long as Tarzan gets a place to DPS. 3 items on the Neferi, and this champion is well and truly online, particularly with the Sivir ultimate and Shanks running forwards too to provide the extra damage.
I hope we get the replay here in a second, but we had that conversation where I was saying, you know, actually, I feel like NIP have still got a pretty good 5v5, and you were explaining why, look, actually, you worried about their ability for the front line to survive long enough to get that value off with the Brawn passive and stuff, and there's a great example of it. Part of it is Tarzan being 11 kills deep, don't get me wrong, but you have got 11 kill Neferi. This is what's going to happen.
Tarzan runs into mid-jungle in the bot side of the map. We'll get out safely. AL, they should feel fairly confident now, I think, with this Neferi being so strong. I do wonder whether Leave has hit his spike and things go poorly after this. Has gone for the Giant spell, interestingly enough, to get a little bit more HP to deal with. Potentially that diver coming through. Not exactly sure what they'll go towards. Here comes the Scion.
Maybe, but that might have to wait as the incoming onslaught is pretty brutal, and Nayo is immediately blasted. Tarzan dragged very deep here, though. Doinb dies, though. Just not tanking enough. Leave now under his own tier 3. Dark and Daggers come on forward. The ghouls, the dogs sent straight after him. There's no Yorick, but minions abound nonetheless.
So that is the problem. The front line can't live through the damage eventually. Tarzan so much work, and Nayo doesn't even press the E. Don't know whether it was on cooldown. Would have really liked to use that to, you know, not get blasted by the Scion. Great engage by Flandre. And Tarzan, you know, I think last game he had a great advantage, just couldn't quite carry the team to a win. NIP played better around the objectives. This time, Tarzan has just taken the game by storm. Baron will be there.
Started with the early kills. But look at the stacking. These fights don't look clean. And now we feels that we've hit that break point where it's becoming so hard to deal with this Neferi. We'll look again because they just get blasted. I think this is actually that team fight from before. No, this is the
no, this is the pickup just now. And the question is, where was the Braum shield or the Pantheon E? Both of them get hit by this. Someone should have just elected to die. Probably the Braum. And I wonder whether that was the mistake which cost them hit. It means that no one can really peel back. Both front lines dying so quickly. And you say, oh, he's dragged deep. It is a massively fed Neferi. It changes the way you play the game, because before you think, yes, it probably was too deep. Not now when you've got this many kills.
Worth on as well, Doinb. Yes, gone for a row. He's got Horizon Focus second. That's not a Zhonya, it's not a Seraph or anything like that. Doinb, if he's not safe, will die quite quickly this game. Yes, you're going to have a lot of damage if you get the opportunity to. But you can see at the minute, he is getting blasted quite freely. Tarzan briefly a threat there, but again, he has a Call of the Pack and a Kyle next to him, so not actually as scared as you might otherwise be.
Now, do NIP have the wave clear to survive through this? Well, it's also very hard to forget about stuff like the severe damage like that. Pantheon coming through.
Tries to jump on forwards. It's okay-ish, but we already said not the easiest for NIP to go forwards aggressively. 3 levels down on the Pantheon, and he's immediately blasted. Leave, having to run away from the Scion, who ended up way behind enemy lines, but it matters not. because AL just eviscerate what remains of the NIP team.
They had us in the first half, not gonna lie. That feels like the story of this game. Tarzan has a W, has a flash to keep on walking forwards, and I don't think Cleve will be seeing this one out to safety, or perhaps we underestimated him again. One of those daggers lands though, and maybe
flash, there he goes, and there's the daggers. Not enough healing, even with all of the empowered healing to work with from his stacks. What is not stacking anymore is the House of Cards that NIP were building. Their turrets crumble, and Anyone's Legend strike back in game 2 to even up the series.
Anyone's Legend even things up through Tarzan, a smile on his face, and God, does he deserve that. What a series of plays from our reigning champion jungler in Tarzan, from our reigning champion team, Anyone's Legend. A dispatch of NIP after the Atakan, and the series of plays which came after.
I have not seen a Fury carry like that in a little while. That was a very good game from Tarzan. And, you know, credit actually also up to people like Flondre, really good Scion as well. There's lots of people to shout out, but that Neferi, I mean, there was literally no one who could tank the damage.
No, and while Braum, at points in the game, could, there was a point where it's not just the Neferi, then you have a Ryze and a Sivir running behind them as well. NAP, I think they could have rode that game into a win if they hadn't teleported away from bot lane out of the Atakan. I think they're in a decent spot there. Then they gave a ton of gold over to the Neferi, a ton of kills, and the game started to fall apart. And much like the House of Cards, which you were mentioning there, it did just fall apart, and that one breeze in that bot lane, everything fell over. And credit to NIP for making that a very competitive game. I didn't expect that before playoffs, but then NIP showed us some good gameplay actually in the upper bracket, and then Anyone's Legend drops down. This is a much more entertaining series than I thought it had any right to be.
Completely agree. And now we're in a position, I think, where... Look, this game wasn't flawless from AL.
Yeah.
There were moments here where we were going, oh god, those team fights look a bit awkward, not sure about those objective setups. The individual play saw them through, and once they had the lead, they looked a lot more comfortable. But I am still a little bit unsure how consistently they're going to be about getting there at the minute, which is not something I ever thought I'd have to worry about with Anyone's Legend, say, 2 months ago.
Okay, well that's your second game done, folks. We're going to rest our voices and chill out a little bit. And of course, stick around, like, comment, subscribe. We're not paid to do this, folks. This isn't an official broadcast.
Come support us!
If you'd like us to keep doing this, please donate and keep doing those things, because it makes it much, much easier to do as well. Wait, I just got back. Leave lost on Senna? Yeah, he did. Now, he was very good on the Senna. He actually managed to turn a lot of fights which I didn't think were possible, but such is the nature of playing in the LPL and against Anyone's Legend. Sometimes they will really catch you flat-footed with their quick decision-making. Tar-based style of League of Legends has always been a very punishing style of Legends. It tends to be the way of it. And, okay. We'll get ourselves into a quick break and figure things out after that.
Indeed, and there's your damage numbers. I mean, Leave doing a decent amount there, credit to him. Doinb not miles behind Shanks either, but look at the discrepancy in jungle. Like, Tarzan just got so ahead, and at that point, you are just having to the point where Neferi is a one-man army. And Tarzan just stealing Kanavi's epithet a bit, really. It was Tarzan shenanigans. Yeah, he ends up like 11 kills deep. Bisto. Hope more damage than Senna. Yeah. Got a lot of good ricochets down. Credit to him. I think Hope was just quietly doing a lot of work in these team fights as things went on. Yeah, I wasn't expecting it actually that much either. But I guess the Senna wasn't really hitting that many people with lots of HP. Like, the Scion wasn't around for that many fights. Again, I mean, I guess Hope was ricocheting through people. Yeah, actually, I'm not sure that's a fair argument either. Just a good game from Hope. Nio was weirdly over-aggressive again. The problem is he's the only one with an actual go button. Was part of it, right? Like, yes, you've got Ambessa ult, but you don't want to freeball that too much. The only person with, like, guaranteed lockdown pick CC was Nio with the shield bolt. No one else really had it. Brawn passive is a bit slow. Ambessa ult is awkward. You've got Last Embrace. AL has struggled since coming back from MSI. Yeah. Agreed, Soldier. We're all on board with you there. Agreed. They are just better at it than that one. I can't get over do and be builds. Like, I don't know about other Horizon. The thing is, Horizon Focus is cheaper. It's a bigger spike, but I feel like something with a bit of burn, something with a bit of HP might have been more valuable. We're about to see our MVP, and I don't think it will be a surprise at all to anyone that it is Tarzan with his 9th of the season. When AL are winning, it is often because Tarzan is just better. And often he really, really is a 14 kill, 92% kill participation game. Dang. Mashed a lot of people. I mean, he just blasts people. He just blasts people. This is a really clutch fight in general. Eight out of 8. Can't blame him. I like, she's got the full-on Yalan hairstyle. It's very cool.
OPPO Find X8 系列夜景人像神器，夜拍超清晰人像 MVP。
TCL X11H 0QD Mini LED 电视。
Into the break we go. We need to run some ads, don't we? We need to do that. Make sure we have them. Why didn't Leave just get more stacks? Do you want it in? I don't think that game was on Leave especially. Look, it was team play issues that cost them that more than anything else. Is that simple? I wish.
中国电竞当然有我，有能量当然战马。奥方电竞椅职业战队的选择，连续6年，中国电竞椅销量第1。奥方 G7 专业人体工学电竞椅，22项调节，提供腰颈肩全方位支撑。上官方旗舰店搜奥方 G7。今晚碾压局，你的车。
就这样了吗？或者说，开局吗？
开就开。
没有做好的部分的话，就是感觉我们资源团今天落位比较慢吧，然后就是团队的打团打的有点一般，然后就是前期的进攻不够，就是我们今天虽然输了，但也是输的比较可惜吧。然后就是回去复盘一下，然后后面再加强一下，尽量赢下每一局吧。我觉得 NIP 的话，主要是从下路开始进攻嘛，就他们下路一般对线都会用，然后从下路进攻也去，然后控资源嘛。我觉得例如的话是打团能力比较强的一位选手吧，因为他玩发言英雄都能发育得很好，对他的小火龙和塞纳印象比较深吧，就觉得他玩叠层的叠得比较好。对我努力的方向的话，就是团队的沟通和角色上前期的进攻和资源吧。然后目标就先赢下一场吧，我觉得一场一场打吧。
Leave Nasus game 4, you heard it here first. Oh my god. Potentially. Oh, baby. Screenshotted, you're welcome. Wow. Crit Thresh. You're just finding all the stacking champions for this. Smolder, guys. Just remember Smolder is a thing. I'm lounged and reclining right now. It's a great time. You're welcome. You are. Thank you, Carl. L kind of been going downhill since the entire split. Yeah, we thought they'd recover, just an international hangover. They've not. Or at the very least, they do not look like a top 2 team in the league right now, do they? They look. Maybe they are the 4th best team in the league, and even then, they dropped down the lower bracket pretty convincingly. I need to see them do better. I need to see them be better. And they have not been so far. Do and be on screen. He's a very distinctive looking man, is Doinby. As is Leave, actually. I feel like Leave has got the Victor mask cheekbones. And when you see Leave, you'll see like he's got the really crazy cheekbones. The new Victor mask. Do you see what I mean? Leave Aurelian Soul, says Hans in the YouTube chat. Hell yeah. Alright. Draft for game number 3. NIP versus anyone's legend coming right at you. Poppy, Azir, Alistair away from anyone's legend as ever. Stopping the Trundle angle. Pantheon, not Pantheon banned. Cassante banned, Pantheon already used. I'm saying Pantheon a minute. First pick now available for ninjas in pajamas. As is their right as the blue side team. Blue side bias, guys. When is red side getting first pick? Renekton now a consideration. And his first pick by NIP for solo kill. Varus has not been very successful of late. But are we feeling like it's worth picking up here? Hope is a good Varus, but so were a lot of our AD carries. Hasn't been that great. Finding the wins required. Do we want to do a Trundle here? He is that angle. Yeah, that's already banned away. Would have suggested otherwise. I think NIP would have locked in the Trundle themselves. Don't really have that many good anti-Trundle tools remaining. Tarzan coming off an MVP game. Strong showing. Talia for Doinby would be the global he does so love. Now locking in alongside it. Maybe carry. Might be a consideration, but of course the Wukong for Nio. The doubted really. Top side locked in. Bot lane to be locked for 5. And focus down some of those picks depending on what you want here. AL theoretically could lock in support and then ban out bot side. Good matchups into it. If they don't pick up a mid laner here, it actually gets quite challenging. Kalia thought process. Bad into the Talia. And mess around with it a little bit. You're going to want some dive buddies for it. Threatened if the Unraveled Earth is ever used poorly. And Shanks, as a player, one of the better Akali players out there. Still diving into Renekton, Wukong. Not always the most fun. Your anti-dive tools and things like the Braum, the Alistair, and the Leona off the table. Bard's not bad into it. Maybe looking at someone. I'm trying to think what might you look into here. Rel, maybe your angle regardless. Although you can 4th pick that here for Kyle, and he is historically a fantastic Rel player. Even Misfortune off the board. Not been a very successful champion, but is one of the more lane dominant, lane survivable options into Varus. Not a lot of things do have a great time into that one. There's Kai'Sa up, Zeri up if you want to go that route, and Leave again. Very dangerous on those scaling options. Smolder, I suppose you want to go to another one of those stacking options and have that hyper carry security. Khan now banned. Would have denied a potential Xayah angle, I suppose, or makes it a little bit trickier. And again, Xayah into Varus isn't much fun anyway. Get outranged pretty heavily. Notoriously, Xayah's oldest and longest standing lane counterpick matchups, but that's true of Varus into most. At this point, probably looking at something like a Rel 4th pick here. There you have it. Nautilus, I suppose, another option if you're wanting a bit more pick CC, but I think the Rel probably wiser. Kai'Sa Nautilus would be given up though, and I think that probably does become the option. Nyket, big Nautilus player across many years, and there it is. Good team fight, good skirmishing, double global between Kai'Sa to Leah. Blandre given last pick, Luke Skywalker was standing by. We have Proton Torpedo launching Jace, try and bring down the evil NIP Empire, I suppose. There's our drafts locked in.
Sorry folks, I was just gone for a bit of a quick break, so got a bit of a headache running, that's all good. These teams have been giving each other some headaches. That's how you segue, by the way.
Well done.
Yeah, I'm very glad of that. So, full draft in. I have to react to all of this without having seen it. Well, that is a trundle into last tank, but there's a lot of people you can catch out, particularly the Nautilus and the Talia. A good pillar into a good Varus ult, that can be a bit of an issue. A little bit worried about the Varus because of the lower power on that champion right now, but we'll see if anyone's legend can make that pick pay off. Coaches will fist bump. We'll move into our third game of the series.
A couple of the highlights. It was Renekton first pick.
Jeez.
So that was what came in first.
Okay.
And then they got 2-3 Talia Wukong. On the other side, they responded with the early Varus and the Trundle, and then locked in an Akali for Shanks just to get that kind of like pocket pick option. Red 5, the Luke Skywalker pick was the Jace, and the Kai'Sa Nautilus came in through at 4-5.
Well, Jace is a risky pick to play, but you now have double poke, setting up for the Akali to execute. That is the game plan. Get enough HP so Shanks can run wild on the Akali. On the other side, you have good point-and-click CC, a bit more ability to potentially play out extended DPS. Let's hear those gyros and get into our third game.
There's how Gyro's done. 1-1 is the series. NIP with the slight late game advantage. You've got a Kai'Sa, you've got the globals, you've got the better objective setup with a lot of your AoE. Some mid-game skirmishing power of Trundle, Akali, Varus, Jace all coming in and doing damage from wild angles. I can see that being statistically a little bit advantage there, but it is only a 1% one way or the other. Playable, I think, for both teams, depending on games. It's much more about how teams want to pilot their drafts rather than time of game so much.
I'm a little bit worried for anyone's legend that there's a lot of people that can get picked off by Cyclone into Leaf flying forwards Doombo the ultimate as well.
Double global.
There's a lot of options for NIP to throw people at you, and anyone's legend don't have a lot of survivability. So anyone's legend will need to make sure that they're not picked off individually, that they are the ones which are starting things on their turn, and that their poke lands well before those attempts come through. Now Cat starting, as he started with the hook, no, with the W. Sometimes we do see that.
He's going to get crashed down on, of course, is on his Kai'Sa. Playing was always been creative on this champion, Shadow Flame builds and the like. 2-1 so far this split. Kai'Sa at one point was really, really high priority. Still kind of around and about, particularly as we come back to best of 5s. But she dropped away from being one of those real go-to AD carries for a little bit.
Really like how Nakat started with the W. Sometimes we see the Titan's Wrath shield start from the north. Just because you can walk up, auto-attack the minions, or tank the first skill shot, I mean that you get access to the wave. The hook is better damage, better CC, but the W can give you better positioning on the wave. So good level 2 rush by Lee. Nyket bounce back will come in from Hope and Kyle after.
I always knew Nautilus was played by Russell Crowe in his Wrath of the Titans.
Oh no, not that movie. People remember that movie? Wasn't it? It was a much bigger movie in what, the 80s and the 90s or something, right?
Yeah, I think
and then they remade it and it was
wonderfully awful.
Less good.
Just awful.
I will say, not as bad as Gods of Egypt, which was really quite bad.
That was
it was. Look, I will say it was kind of fun, but it wasn't good.
It's like, all the Egyptian gods just sort of were unusually British.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not going to lie, that's how people kind of conquered Egypt in history. That's basically what the Ptolemies did.
Yeah, it's true.
Although what they did is they adapted their own image to fit the more local understanding of things. So if you look at the statues of Ptolemaic pharaohs, they're all in the traditional Egyptian style, which is very interesting because, of course, they were the kind of successor kingdoms from Alexander.
Interesting.
Tarzan going in towards mid lane.
Gonna put up a statue in honor of his great gank. It's not quite a pyramid, but it might be a tomb nonetheless. Nayo gonna turn around though. Good damage back. Flash on in. Gonna get turned around. You'd think with the Shuriken Fit flash forward required. Has got the double. Buffs to work with. Won't be able to find too much more. Flash is blown 1 for 1.
You know what? I'd take that though as if I'm Nayo, because Nayo has had some bad early games in this series. Getting a first blood, making sure that Tarzan doesn't get the kill on the other side. I think you take that. Shanks blowing the flash means that it is 1 for 1. Double buffs over to Shanks. Doomby's probably less happy about this, but you know, Trundle, the early power of him is very important here. And I get even holding the wave for Doomby. That's nice.
Managed to mount up and get outside of the seismic
Oh, pulled him through the backfield.
And Shanks needs to potentially turn around and stop this. Turning around now with a 5-point race, but has to flash away. Nayo's back, by the by. Sure, it can flip away. Remember, there's no flash. This can get interesting. Nyket will have the hook back up. Seismic shove just wide. Shanks with the Serpentine gets out to safety.
Not exactly sure what happened there, but Doomby and Nyket will get a large wave for themselves. Shanks could have teleported in, but I think with the red buff ticking, he'll be regened up enough. Nyket, I'm going to credit him for the activity here. Good flick banks, good damage.
I think Shanks could be in quite a lot of danger here.
Potentially, I mean, E out to safety.
There's no flash. Where's the
Renekton's coming up. He needs. Yeah. Does he have another E? Shanks might die, and that means that the double buffs he worked so hard to earn will fall off.
Now it's like, I need my buffs back, mate. Give them here. Give me my buffs. I think he needs a solo kill.
Oh, do they want to give it to the Renekton? Now that would be an adaptation. I would have thought giving it to the Wukong is better. Solo kill. Not going to be gifted it. They give it over towards Nayo instead. Interestingly so. Now it took so long. Tarzan can invade onto top side and potentially get a Gromp.
All the while, worth noting the Nautilus and the Kai'Sa are coming up, so I don't think to go for the Wolves after would be a little bit too greedy to do that. I would do it, but I am bad at the game.
Shanks are going to teleport back into mid lane. But very hard for those double buffs in that first kill. Getting them denied is really annoying. Hook into turret, but no aggro. And will just be the Gromp steal away from Tarzan, nothing more from him. So 2 kills now for Nayo. Down half a level to a full level though. That is something which could be utilized by Tarzan with the early 6 spike. Could look for a fight off of that.
Dirty as well, actually down a fair amount of CS as Shanks because he was forced to run away from the wave. We'll pick up a little bit of it here, but Doomby kind of gets to mitigate the advantage of the kill.
Nyket.
That's Nyket with face check, crash down, shattering strike, but there's that Titan's Wrath shield. Ow. Missing arrow, even post-nerf with a comic still stings.
We'll say. Varus doesn't feel quite as heavy kill pressure as I thought before. I suppose he has 0 lethality in inventory right now. Just the more I'm seeing with lethality Varus, I understand why it's fallen off. It's much harder to play around it as a win condition. Your laning phases are less brutal, which means you hold down champions which outscale you potentially, a lot less hard. And actually using it to win through poke trades later feels a little less impactful. You know, right there I would have thought, maybe I'm misremembering just how brutal Varus was, but I would have thought that he probably should. That was a summonerless Nautilus. I would potentially would have killed there. Not to be.
Worth noting as well, of course, it's gone for the Comet. We have seen a few Hail of Blades variant on the lethality to try and get through towards the Blight stacks and play it that way. A little bit slower in terms of just hitting one skill shot, but requiring a few more autos. But that I've seen a bit more success with.
That was a little more lane dom. And that one, we saw some logic between that. Basically, when you massively outrange, you play the Halo Blades. Into a Nautilus, you don't always want to walk up to those attacks, though, so somewhat understand that. Doesn't mean that the Rowler is then forced to just permanently stand in front of you, so you can kind of bait in the hook, look for the Halo Blades after, and of course your poke later into the game does fall off, because you don't have the Comet as well. What's happening in this top lane matchup? Decent advantage for Flandre. I don't think he's had... I mean, the game 1 of this series on the Rumble wasn't fantastic. He had 1 good equalizer, but it was quite outside of that. Second game on the Silent, that was very good, actually. See if he can use this good matchup here against the first Renekton to get any advantage.
And once upon a time, again, Flandre was one of the OG Dark Magicians of the top lane. He was, I believe it was Snake Esports he debuted on, if I'm remembering correctly. Apologies to all you LPL
was it Kaiju Reapers after a while? I'm trying to remember which one came first.
That's Snake first, but I couldn't tell you. Kelsey would know.
Yes, no one tell Raz. Because, yeah. I think it was Snake into Chaoju, which of course is where
Doomby,
that's where Doomby went. Yeah, of course.
Was that the bit of the Meteor drama as well?
Misses.
while, it's a corruption now onto Nymaera, who will survive the engage. Solo kill gonna hit by the turnaround as Shankso goes in, but gets bounced around and dies immediately. Now NIP can look for more. Second activation of the Cyclone, and Lee finds a wonderful angle to turn around, but all the while Varus and Trundle get a couple back. The problem is, where else do they run? Another one down. Flandre trying to run back, gets a shot blast that's accelerated into the middle of Narnia. Solo kill getting a good cold and meek healing, and now Kyle also dies. Ends up being a 4 for 2.
Anyone's Legend don't start the fight off with enough poke, so NIP brawl at enough HP to run them through. NIP, what do they gain off of this? All 3 grubs likely. And Anyone's Legend, I don't think they're going to be hit with Solo Kill sticking around to make sure that this is here in time. Now, it should be able to get all 3 because Solo Kill stuck around. Shanks will look in here. Might look for a kill. Shanks doesn't have the ultimate. Okay, it will just be the 2. It's not going to be the full house and the mites with it.
At least get that, but hey, you still get that marker towards feats of strength. Happy enough for that one. NIP also got the first 3 kills, so they've got that marker towards upgraded boots. Trap between a rock and a bottle place. Nowhere really to run. Finally, flashes Nio coming. Maybe it's all a ruse. Gets crashed down on. Leave is here. Throwing down Catherine. Nymaera as well. The arrow goes wide. So does the dredge line. Interesting. Kyle is going to go down. Doomby comes in with the Weaver's Wall and sets up Lee for a double. 303. Kaiser online.
Anyone's Legend are really playing too quickly for their composition. This is not a quick skirmish comp in the way that NIP's is. Maybe look at the Trundle and say, yes, we can look for plays here. And it was a magnificent pillar to pinch Doomby against the wall. But you don't win these scrappy skirmishes in the same way. Now, this is the fight before it, where, you know, you start with a combo onto the Nautilus, but it's the Nautilus. He's just dumped, you know, their full combo. Shanks jumps in. Why are you targeting the support of all people? There is a Conqueror stacking Wukong right in front of your face. Doomby is on the side as well, causing issues, and Leave finds the place to thread the needle. Good job. You kill the Nautilus eventually. Doomby goes down, but you have a lethal tempo stacking Kaiser there. We already talked about the Wukong. Renekton 2. You do not win the extended fights, and this is the pinch against the wall, which is disgusting, make no mistake. Chooses not to flash, but Doomby, I mean, I think a lot of people would have panicked earlier. Baits Kyle in. Tarzan doesn't have his ultimate, used it in that last fight. Leaving Naya come through. Okay, doesn't have vision in the brush, so it is a blind hook. Sure, whatever, it misses. And Doomby uses the last of his HP about to say, okay, cool. Wall off 2 people, gets a flash, and another kill.
Really, really well done. And actually, great comms. Just saying, look, actually, wait, and now go. It works out so well. You've now got the crackers they've already done. There's a little smirk on the coach's face, and I don't blame him. It's looking really good. And Nio 4-1-4, well ahead on the Wukong. And I was in a few scrim lobbies with some of the ERL teams. They were saying, look, if you're going to go into the Tarzan standard, Wukong tends to be your best match. You know, that those two kind of match up against each other pretty well. But the fact that this Wukong is ahead of curve here, really nice for Nio.
Tarzan down 1,000 gold after the early games he's had over Nio. That'll feel pretty bad. Here's a level up. Cyclone coming through.
Again, has actually managed to farm quite well. That's where he's getting that level. The problem is, he is now on the wrong side of the rift, having just eaten a lot of damage. Subjugate's about to time out. Nio ticking up with the rev buff, heading towards these turrets, going to try and deny.
Is it going to be an execute? Is it going to be an execute? He's trying to wait around for it. If Nio can probably flash to get himself something. We'll see. I don't think he's in range now. Tarzan will execute to the fountain. Oh, he flashes for the smite! Tarzan! You should have just walked! Nio, dubstep smite, gets a kill on his opposing number.
Similar flash, but the work is done. Leaf will end up hit by the Shattering Strike, but not leaving to do that much. And that means Hope left alone in the mid lane. Depth charge. Nowhere really to run with. No flash quite up to him. Waiting on the seismic shove, forces the front step, and Hope dies in the 1v2.
This is 3 games in a row now where Anyone's Legend have looked at minimum shaky. Game 2, I mean, it really came around the play after the Atacama where Anyone's Legend burst into the advantage. Before that, I was thinking, you know, NIP are in a good spot. Once again, NIP have surprised me. This is a team where after off-season, I thought, you know what? This team could do something in Fearless Draft. Didn't really work out across the first 2 splits. They had some good moments, but not really anything beyond that. They bombed out in their first plus, and you know, the second split left a lot to be decided. Remember, folks, they were playing from Group Nirvana in Group 3. They weren't playing against these teams at the top of the table. It took them a long time to earn this ability. Dominus in topside.
Dominus traded out there for the Thundering Blow for now as Flandre got that level up, but Solo Kill looking to get a bit of a chunk. It can't quite get in range for more. All while Tarzan grabbing that Scuttle Crab. Also started by NIP around.
Yeah, the poke landing this time. Yeah, now the fights before, we haven't really seen the poke be the deciding factor. Flandra does have teleport, which is probably why Solo Kill popped that dominance earlier. I don't know if they should stick around for this, actually. Just let it go.
Yeah. Leaf had to reset, we'll go bot side. Just trying to ensure that it's not as easy, but hope to get towards the lane. No wave to fight over anyway, so you may as well just sort of force a slightly more awkward set of pathing. But now, what happens bot lane? Reminder, first turret worth playing for. You've got a Jace and a Trundle here. This could go down real fast.
Now, that will go down, but let's be honest, I mean, Norse Legend, they don't have the other feat of strength there, so it will be next objective, which will get it for them, so it's not instantly going to do that. Trader plates across, so it's going to be 2 plates here, maybe 3 just before they fall. Norse Legend will get more gold off of this. Okay, 2 plates there. Yeah, you don't want to let this inner turret go down, though. This is a mistake.
Kai'Sa's roaming. You've got Nautilus and Renekton here. And remember, Kai'Sa can join with the Killer Instinct. Has got not got level 11. Important that the turret goes down. And that's a good shove from AL. Voidseeker lands. Do they want to go for this? Can't find the depth charge angle. Nio will keep chunking on this top side. And actually, there is no response yet, so might actually, in the slow run, be able to go 2 for 2 here.
Yeah, and you do. I mean, Wukong is one of the best tower takers in the game, too. His Wukong clone also hits the turret, gets the attack speed. Nio getting a ton of gold here. Massive. And I tell you what, against this comp, the Wukong getting really fed, I'll actually take that. Normally, I'd say you want the gold on the Talir, the Kai'Sa, of course. In this composition, a 2,000 gold lead to the Wukong you can get on top of the Jace and the Varus, who are hard countered by the Wukong, really. That is a good sign for NIP.
He's 2,000 gold ahead of anyone else in the game right now. Massive individual lead. His back is going to be a big one for the Wukong. Check the inventory. That'll be... Is it a full item? Or is it going to be most of one? It is the full Sundered Sky off the dagger.
Folks, you have seen the one-shot before. Let us introduce you to the one-shot. Just a long sword in inventory. The long sword, the Sean Connery, goes back and gets the Sundered Sky. Gets
when the sky falls. That was Daniel Craig.
That was Daniel Craig. It's enough similarity for us to get it. If I'm thinking of the best junglers in the game against a Jace and a Varus, I think something like a Vi, but particularly the Wukong as well. Nio, we were saying this at the start of the series, a guy who is against Tarzan, one of the very best the LPL has to offer. If he were to have a good showing here, perhaps even win this series, God, what a storybook it would make for him and his career. Herald is alive. W poke from Kai'Sa, landing there a little bit onto Kyle, but watch out for now. No flash just yet. Very, very strong here on the Wukong at 2 items.
And Shanks on the Sakali 1, 2, and 2, diving into a Wukong, a Nautilus, a Renekton. We already saw the last player who went into the Mouth of Hell and did not emerge. Mouth of Hell just got some extra teeth courtesy of this Wukong. It's not looking fun right now for anyone's Legend. Make no mistake about it.
Now the poke isn't quite there. Good flick back.
Oh boy, Exhaust comes down, but it's not for the bloody Nautilus. Nyket may well go low, but doesn't quite fall. Leaving the Catherine Rain won't quite get the kill. Solo kill, nearly gets solo killed by Shanks. The moment I start wondering about his value here, it gets a bit dangerous, but now Doomby gets to come on over, force the flash out of Shanks.
So that's a flash away from Kyle, flash away from Shanks. Nyket somehow surviving and not using his summoners, teleport into the mid lane. Hope doesn't have the ultimate leave. No ult, forced to flash himself. Not bad there from AL to pick up that summoner onto leave. Herald is still alive, worth noting. Anyone's Legend. We've praised their objective play before, but I'm not sure it's been the cleanest. There is a Cyclone here from Nio, and he very much wins against Tarzan, especially with Tarzan having the Merc Treads. The individual 1v1 against Nio is really rough now.
That making big replay. Nice combo from Shanks. The 1v1s pretty good this game, I suspect. It's just the team fights for the Sakali are going to be tricky. Can't quite secure the kill. Had the R2 available and solo kill. Had to flash after 5-point strike. Yeah. Dragged him pretty low.
Sadly, didn't have the C3 kill. You've got to get both of those, both the duos together.
Yeah. Han Solo kill on the other side, of course.
Oh,
God. You think you could make the Star Wars spins, huh?
God, that is just awful.
I mean, Nio, right? I mean, he's been in the enemy jungle a lot. You call him a Darth jungle invader.
Do or do be. There is no try. Do or do and be. There is no try. Well, we'll see if we can pull out next swing from the swamp. We'll have to pull up the Herald first, see what's lying underneath that. The objective still not going down completely cleanly. They were to get this. They were to get themselves. That feats of strength.
Anyone can do and be. It's best to be a mentor for the team here
Hook in
the river. And that is a hook in from Nyket, who needs to flash out this time. And to be fair to AL, the last few skirmishes, the damage checks have looked a lot better from AL. They've got the Ghost Blade and the Dirk, and suddenly this Varus a little bit more threatening.
Yeah, the thing is, though, it's not completely killing, and also, it's not winning them the fight, it's just making sure they can disengage. The damage going on to the Nautilus, this is somewhat Niket's, Nyket, bro, I need to remember that pronunciation. It's his lot in life here, really. He is going to lose a lot of HP, potentially die on the initial engage, but if Leave remains full HP, don't think they care too much. That is a mistake, Leave. That is a mistake.
Right through Tarzan, Pillar comes on down, interrupts it.
Good pillar there, actually. That is nice. Now, if you're manually driving it, you can interrupt it that way. If it's the auto charge, I'm not sure it works the same way, actually. Dragon has started from NIP.
Seen 1 or 2 Pillar interrupts across our time. The trundle been very potent. Tarzan with a flank angle. Maybe he can find a decent fill in. I can't remember. Hooked into the wall. He is likely going to die for his transgressions. Dragon secured by NIP. Mid lane shove though for AL, trying to get back towards his mid lane wave. Tricky right now. Shock blast lands. Good chunk there from Flandre.
Could potentially soldier clone rather over the wall. Or from Dernby. Make sure they can at least get that wave clear. Now, that one's a little less good. Now, you are likely going to die to delay, to get an start of an engage as the Nautilus. I'm not going to say all of this is a problem. That one was less valuable, though. Teleport in from Nyket. I'm going to give it another go. I appreciate the attempt, Nyket.
Does at least sell his life for Dragon, so not entirely for free here. And that stops the soul point for anyone's legend. Managed to get back towards mid lane wave as well before any real damage come on through. Chains of Corruption. Ooh. Opportunistic, shall we say.
Yeah, sometimes you throw them out, just hope for the best. Was the level 11, so it's not like it's the highest cooldown ever. You know what? I actually think Leave's been really contesting Hope very, very well over this series, considering that Hope is a player which we definitely have a lot of respect for. Leave continually putting up good performances for this team. Has brought NIP some good spots.
Minutes just crested here.
Atacon spawning, that's the big thing.
Yeah.
Now, anyone's legend, they're going to have to really prove that the poke can make the difference. Because, look, the Jace has a good lead. 1-0-1, got a lot of turret plates. Has some CS advantage in there too, of course. Is this going to be enough to actually win a game, though? Because if there is a good enough Cyclone, I think anyone's legend's composition just falls apart. NIP, they'll be looking for that, and they don't want to play fight slowly if they can help it. They want a quick engage, huge lead in that jungle, of course, helping them. But if things go slowly enough, the second arrow, Shock Blast coming through, anyone's legend will have good value.
So, come to this. It's the filler line for all times. What I really want to talk about here is some items, actually much more important. Second time five large gun, doing B again with the Ryalize in. Be valuable here for getting some slows. Kai'Sa second item, big breakpoint for them. Already had the Wukong at this significant breakpoint for a while. Tarzan still stuck at 1 items. Jace though, also at 2. Shojin, Muramana, there is a fair amount of damage to work with there in the poke. A little bit threatening, especially if you can then set up for something like the Sakali, who is potentially in danger, will find a really nice angle out there by using the perfect execution to get over Nio and on the other side of the wall.
His flash was just coming off of cooldown. There was a brief window where maybe that could have worked out. Now with no Akali ult, do they feel like they can just take the Atacon? I wonder if anyone's legend feel like they can actually approach this at all. The Akali ultimate is so important to them.
Here has got flash. We just flipping this? Are you sure, NIP?
I guess we are.
And comes the Magnet Storm trying to turn on the Tarzan. Just going to get in there and steals it. NIP. What was the thought process? Leave now spin up on the backside. It's a good ult, but Shanks is still going to win that 1v1. Kyle eventually falls. Tarzan in danger as Nio desperately low. Sunder Sky healing is pretty decent, but it'll go down in a 1-for-1. It's 2 for 2 overall right now. Barrier comes on board from Hope, needs to flash on in. The Culver Meek, the Ruthless Predator, but it's a kill for Flandre, who's now getting able to go to the skies, rooted up by the staggering blows, flashes away, hook on Hope, but it doesn't matter, and AL get the Atacon, and the full team by Ace. Ninjas in pajamas. What was the thought process?
It's another Atacon throw. It's another Atacon throw. This game was in such a good spot. They lose the flip. They lose the fight. Anyone's legend cut the gold lead to basically nothing and are well back in it. What possessed NIP to take that fight in the way that they did? Yes, there's no Akali ultimate. It does not mean you walk into melee range of that champion as the Kai'Sa. NIP, hold your heads in shame. That one is a bad one. Saw Yamato Cannon actually making a tweet the other day. What are the worst Atacon throws you've seen? This one's pretty bad, folks. I think Kyle does the right thing here. When you're committing to a smite fight, just CC the jungler and just threaten them a little bit. Goes into the Cyclone. Tarzan gets to play there, and Leave is left alone versus Shanks. I don't know whether he should have flown over to the other side of the fight. I think this fight's pretty much over there. NIP positioning poorly, lose the smite, and things fall to pieces.
Intercon strikes again. I don't know what possesses teams around this objective, but no one seems to be able to take it cleanly. There's no walls, really, between you and the enemy team, so it does come down to the flips. Did you need to flip it, guys? Did you really? It gets close at the end, don't get me wrong, but a good flash here from Flandre away from the rock that would have killed him. The hook lands onto Hope, but flash from Shanks, and auto comes on forward, and Tabe is pleased.
Well, I think he knew how the game was going. The gold lead in that jungle is so threatening. Now, reminder, folks, that the same problems for AL still exist. If this Wukong does get into the backline with a Cyclone, things are very nasty. Now, Shanks does have 2 items. Does have his ult back available. Good angle off to the side. Dragon spawning, so mid lane push will want to be achieved, so give that better option towards bot river.
Piercing arrow lands, not that much damage. Shanks now a known quantity. Actually, is he? He's timed that run really well. Still in the dark right now.
There's a lot of wards to go over, though. That definitely won't help. Oh my god, he's actually still unspotted.
Incredible work.
How has he done this? Assassin in the shadows. Got himself more than just a smoke screen. He's got himself a definite sense of where the vision is and isn't. Will he be spotted now? Yes, they should know now.
Finally have an idea, but it's a great angle nonetheless. Change corruption land onto Nike. He's taken very low. Dragon secured that soul point. Shanks can still get across here. Exhaust comes on forward. Shanks looking to threaten Nike so low. The third point strike lands. Nike with the magnet storm. No, it causes Kyle. I get the wrong name, but it doesn't matter because Shanks is still murdering multiple members. The Weaver's Wall away. And AL just murder them.
Heartbreak for NIP around Atakan and the Dragon. If this series is lost, their year is over, and Doomby's glorious return to the pro scene after 2 years away. The first note back would be a sour one. Anyone's legend. Reminder, I don't think they feel like they should be here in the lower bracket at all, but failed in a 5-game series against Weibo. They've been pushed here against NIP. Definitely not nice looking for them as our reigning champions. The Dragon stolen by Tarzan. Baron secured.
And this game now all but over. 2,000 gold ahead. Atakan, soul point. Look again. And as Nyketch eats a lot of early poke. We were all looking at the Shanks flank, and I think that's rightly so. The hook is okay, but again, Chains of Corruption turnaround. Nyketch gets blasted. Redemption just about in one piece, but Killer splits off Nio. Crushing blow smite. Still not going to beat Tarzan there. At this point, the health bar is so low. The poke starts landing, and yeah, it gets messy from here.
Earlier in the series, it was Tarzan blasting Nio early, then Nio winning the smites. Now it's Nio getting a great lead over Tarzan, and Tarzan landing the smites. Takes the Atakan, takes the Dragon. Baron, of course, wasn't a contest. Now AL firmly in the lead.
Hope continuing to hammer down now onto NIP. The Jace, the Varus, into a very squishy team comp at this point. Really enjoying sitting under their turrets as the barrage continues.
Anyone's legend, yeah, this is the point where the comp gets very hard to deal with. NIP have just not been able to cleanly find the engages. Now, I think that's earlier in the game from Nightcat. I somewhat understand them. He's delaying. He wants the poke to go onto him, not onto his carries. But now, they've just not been able to find that answer into the backline. Kai'Sa gets a turret and bot side, some local gold for him, and an objective bounty. But AL are just running into their base.
We need to get it. Does it? Thunder, the third item. It gets her a hex plate and a recurve bow. Hex plate, Kai'Sa. There you go. A bit more HP, a bit more ability haste. Just a few more ults. In goes Naya, looking to get a shove back. It's good. Tarzan now in danger, exhausted and dead. Now they can look for some more. In goes the Kai'Sa with the ultimate still available. Doesn't need to use it right now. They get 2. Shock blast onto Nio. Survives. Piercing arrow wide.
Hope very close to finishing off the kill there. Anyone's legend. Break the base with the Baron. Still got a minute of it left. Unlikely to use it to push in for another tower. I mean, there is a hex plate now on leave, by the way. It's a very strong item. A lot of AD carries are building it up. I think this is just the stat stick of now. And of course, Kai'Sa doesn't need crit. They can just go whatever they want. If they ult in, the extra move speed and attack speed, maybe that is enough to get the outplay they need. Leave has always been a bit of a chef, a bit of a scientist, a bit of a cook with his builds.
Shanks at level 16. Experienced leader at this point in the game. Atakan with 37 battles helping with that one for sure. 10 stacks on the Dark Seal, building towards the Zhonya's. Very, very threatening now. Hope Kyle in the mid lane. Minute and a half until Dragon. Leave. Sticking around. Trying to get as much as he can done. Assume it'll be a Nash's third. Just wanted that with extra safety, a little bit more ability to just press R when he needs to.
It's really good for the short-term plays, and it does mean, of course, you get a little bit of HP with the build as well. Minute now until Dragon. Anyone's Legend would get that Cloud Soul if they were to claim it. Death Cap on Akali, though. Means that anyone on NIP do get shredded. We did say earlier into the game, look, the poke can also set up the Akali execute. Akali can kind of just do it herself now with a little bit of follow-up damage, even if they do manage to flash away from a bit of the combo. NIP, they really needed good Cyclones and good flank angles from Talia and Renekton. It's just not happened.
Again, you've got the double global. You could be playing with the Weavers more than the Kaiser, but early on we were seeing it, and then they weren't getting those kind of big moments. You've got, with Spellbook, 3 TPs and double globals. Your ability to collapse on plays should be faster by a fairly significant margin than anyone's Legends, and it's not really turned out that way. So, for the side of AL in 15 seconds. Trying to find their way in here. Tarzan pillaring. Andre not really finding that much value there with the Shock Blast.
NIP need to find a way on to the carries. There's a flash on jungle and supports. Anyone's Legend. If Hope or Flandre gets caught out quick enough, maybe NIP can take some big damage off the board early.
Shanks is the flanker again. Can do. The last smite fight was a flip one by Tarzan. The one at the Atacon was as well. Getting the better of Nio across the series in general on that front. Nio chunked out desperately low as Shanks murders the Wukong. That means no smite now, realistically, for this Dragon and Soul as anyone's Legend. Shanks goes in, goes Golden Kyle with the Magnus all across to Nike, and Solo kill left to the wolves, or at least the Assassins leave. Getting a Catherine Rain flash on forward from Hope, tries to find an angle, and just gets murdered anyway. As Shanks finds another, a 4.5 kill damage fight for Shanks. As with the death cap, he secures the game win for anyone's Legend. Early game fumbles forgotten in the face of victory.
Anyone's Legend will take the lead once again. NIP, a brutal early game from them. Throwing around the Atacon and the Dragon. The Intercon struck again as anyone's Legend now have two match points over NIP.
How does it happen again? I am in awe of the fact that it feels like every time Atacon's on the board, a team in the LPL, at least twice a series, will throw that.
Anyone's Legend up 2-1 now, and I won't say this is a completely confident series from them, but the fact that they could just get behind Tarzan getting those 2 crucial smites back to back makes so much difference. Shanks and the Akali, of course, assassinating a bunch of people in there, but for me, really, Tarzan started that comeback so well.
I think what I'm seeing now from anyone's Legend across the left, and I'd be curious to see what you think about this as well, is anyone's Legend, once they get a lead, are pretty good about playing to the win con. Once they know what it is, once they have it in their hands, say, okay, Tarzan's Giga Fed, we're playing around Tarzan. Okay, actually, we've got the Soul Point, we managed to steal the Atacon, we can clean the game out from here. Their issue right now has actually been playing to get that lead in the first place has not been very consistent at all, especially in the early game.
Look, I've got a bit of a migraine that's now running. I'm going to have to dip from the series until I feel a little better, so I'm so sorry for that one. So I dropped out a little bit earlier as well. I'm starting to lose a bit of vision in my right eye, so I'm going to get some painkillers, and we'll figure things out from there. So sorry, Sam.
That's
I'm going
fine.
to finish this one off alone. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching. I can suffer through your migraines for you, and luckily I've got Sam to...
That's fine. Can I run to the bathroom?
Yeah, you do whatever you need to on the break, and
Oh.
we'll leave you with the highlights and the MVP.
Oh. Get myself a cup of tea and a coffee, and I'll be ready to go.
Shanks with the MVP on Akali. Very, very good flanking. Personally, despite the bad early game, I would have given it Tarzan for the double smite secures. I think that he was so crucial in their turnaround of the game. If that Atacant fight doesn't happen, pretty sure, and that steal, I'm pretty sure that anyone's Legends get completely get burned up in that fight. But, you know, slick moves on Akali have their own value. Oh, are there YouTube issues? So yeah, if you're watching on YouTube and you don't hear sound, just reload the stream, it's typically fine. Nightcat's bad? I think he had a bit of a bad game. I don't think he's bad in general. Also a reminder that this guy is still actually very, like, new to the support pool. His game one was better than the other ones, we'll say. The Nautilus, it's kind of hard because you need to be basically giving up your life for the team, which does suck, but hey. It depends on the perspective you're viewing him through, right? Is he playing better than his opponents? No, not all the time. I think that his, the Knights Rivals series was good, though. I think that was fine. That was good. But yeah, I think that it depends on the perspective you're viewing him through. Do I think he's going to be better than many of the veteran supports? No. Do I think he's got potential? Yes. Both of these things can be true. Okay, folks, I'm going to take a bit of a breather. I'm going to have to dip, and I'll let Sam take over when he comes back in.
好久不见。
关闭车窗，空调调到22度。
好的，都搞定了。你好，很高兴我们重新认识。
把生活玩出新意，
自由自在，灵感随行，
用个性的方式画世界，
让眼界突破边界，
让远在天边，近在眼前，
让每一刻精彩不再等待。
上京东搜游戏台式机，游戏主机低至8折抢。
激动。
것도 똑같이 리플레이로 문제점 나오는 걸 고치고 잘했던 점을 계속 해야 될 것 같아. 세나 스모더 같이 스택 쌓는 원딜을 좀 많이 좋아하는 것 같아. 지금 메타에서 바텀이 제일 중요한 것 같긴 하고 좀 라인전이나 한타 싸움에서도 좀 잘해야 될 것 같습니다. 팀적으로보다는 그냥 제 스스로가 좀 고쳐야 될 부분도 많고 좀 잘해야 될 부분도 좀 많아서 그냥 스스로에 대한 문제를 좀 많이 생각해야 될 것 같아요.
I had a cool intro and the mic was muted, which Alex then yelled through from the other room to tell me about. Oops, that's fine. I return to you now, the dawning of the 4th, not the 5th game. Not quite. Is that Morgana? It is Morgana. Where's my Evelyn emoji like that? Why is it Knight's Rivals stage when we see Ennis Coast the Road of a Knight? Yeah, I don't know. Honest answer. 3-1 AL win. It does feel that way at the minute, doesn't it? It does feel that way. Looking to get ready to head on to stage shortly. But there are our players. I will come and say hello briefly. I'm lounging, preparing for what could be our finals game of the day. Evelyn needs players first. First off, Ow, I'm right here. They don't want to play for real. Wukong, press up. Yeah, that's the one. Morgan, Jana are my two mains. Ah, Million close thirds. So lots of enchanters, but different kinds. I see. Got to work in 20, but glad I got to help get through that first bit of it. Lol. Yeah, it's fine. We're happy to help. Fellow ARAM enjoyer, hell yes. Nearly in. What could be our most decisive game of the day? He says with mild hope. It's been a bit weird this series. AL not great in the early games at all. At all. Remember that I had connected my earphones to my mouth. That's kind of funny. All right, folks. I think we might be heading into it, and we are. Let's lock in a little, shall we? The Poppy, the Azir, the Yone now in game 4 away from Shanks. Silas, Doomby special, theoretically a jungle option. Aurora Galio. Doomby's pool called into question. Well, he lost the Akali, of course, to Shanks. Annie, Talia, Victor, Ori, Ryze. These are all Doomby champions. Alistair banned on repeat this series. First pick by NIP. Welcome back, Jay. Maya says hello, hello. Elimination game, yes. For the side of NIP at the very least. NIP lose, they're done for the year. AL would at least be seen in regional finals again should they lose, but they'd rather not end up there. Are we at that point of the draft? Misfortune. Hope is an MF enjoyer. Probably one of our few genuinely decent ones. Elk's up there too, but again, even he couldn't pull off a win on it recently. Debating the Yorick here. MF's win rate's 1-4 right now. Have been very underwhelming in playoffs. Rakan locked in alongside it to deny the Xayah Rakan. Xayah doesn't have a great time into Misfortune. Step a little too close to the wave, and Misfortune gets too easy a time double upping. And the Make It Rain sets up very nicely for Rakan to get good ground entrances. Jax blind for solo kill. It is the champion again, much like Xiaoshu and the like. Specialty players of. Back to scaling. The Senna nearly worked for leave. Smolder might have to do the same here. Smolder locked in. Do you just Yorick now and deal with it? Although Flandre is a big K'Sante player. Okay matchup into the Jax. Used to be one of the OG matchups into K'Sante. First came in with Jax, but K'Sante started to get better and better at it. Effectively, Jax has to be very careful of getting shunted under turret. Can still be flexed mid, I suppose so, for the Smolder. You're right. Don't see a lot of it. They're going to ban away the Twisted Fate. It'll be double Doomby bans here. You've already got a fair amount of damage. A bit more pick would have been nice. It's another global. Gen IP were excellent at using way back earlier in the year, and it all kind of collapsed from there. By Xin Zhao seen play this series? No, it's not. Probably a Xin Zhao ban, no? Unless you want it yourself, but otherwise I think it's going to be an R4 pick for Tarzan. Unless he feels like he really needs the carry. Nayo's Viego off the board. It's one of his, comfort clutch picks. It's a carry option. We're already running with the Jax and the like, so looking to blow people up and get the resets. Wouldn't have been awful. Decent defensively. LeBlanc away from Shanks, AP Assassin number 2. Don't see a lot of LeBlanc at the minute. Not going to see it today. At least this game. Xin Zhao 4. Surprised to see it get this far down the draft and this late into it. Nocturne a possibility as well. Nayo might look at the Nocturne, honestly. You've already got the Jax and the Alistair. Mom coming in from Smolder. Not the worst angle for a Nocturne. Can be a bit nasty for the Misfortune to manage as well. Olaf. Okay, so Monkey, another one of those LDL enjoyers, dispatched some folks on Olaf earlier in the year. That's going to be Karma mid, and with an Olaf. Okay, so you've got Jax and Alice to go diving with you, Karma to give you shield and speeds up and be the enchanter. K'Sante hates it, Xin Zhao hates it. Shanks did have the win on the Kassadin. The other seriously locks it in again. It's into an AP champion. Karma's going to get very heavy shove, but it's unlikely to be able to get kill threat. Though, root pre-6 or only at level 6 itself. viable kill option. Man, AL do not have great winning lanes here. Mid's going to get shoved in very aggressively. Cassante likely going to get shoved in by the Jack, so you could theoretically do something like go for early on Topher Strikes and try and trade the HP for that. The footwork sometimes been the earlier choice just to provide some survivability. Safety combined safability is the wrong word. Survivability. The Misfortune Rakan probably is your most potent lane, so I think as Tarzan, you probably want to play around that and try and use that as your option to get some priority in the game, because the Karma's likely going to get that from mid lane, and that will be very, very scary. Well, those are some drafts. Glad you're all here to enjoy this one, folks. Welcome on in. Prediction, Leave will flash in and die in late game. Oh God, hope not. Hope not. That chant, my days.
敌军还有30秒到达战场，碾碎他。
AL with the heavy statistical spike, relative to this spot anyway. As we head towards mid-game, once the casting rolls in, starts being able to skirmish with the Shinzao and the Rakan. And then you start to run into the issues of Jax and Smolder later on. I think that Olaf could be quite challenging for the casting to manage as well. Level 1, Soloco steps in, will have the counter strike. Lands it onto Tarzan. Nio here forces a flash out of Tarzan as the Undertow would have chunked him. Shanks will get a bit of a shout on off with the Void Pulse. But Raptor's now going to be a steal away from Nio with the early aggressive play from him. Tarzan's around, low level though. And Nio again scarier here as Shank's going to walk up. Smite fight won by Tarzan. That means level 2. Can't get too much more. But Nio doesn't even really get the Raptors. That's rough. Been having a great success across this series with the smites. First look at solo kill on the Jax, doing B on the Karma. Nio on the Olaf this split. Bit of a chunk from Doinb doing what he can there to get shove on in. The tether early from the renewal or the focused resolve will be quite important, I think, as things go on. Bit of a look. Doinb just getting that shove on in. Continuing to throw out inner flames. Tarzan looking for a wrap around here. Potentially looking to catch out Nio. Will be slower on the clear because of that failed invade. Nio is going to be found here. He is an Olaf, strong at the early HP, but Tarzan's already got the red buff. It's going to end up being a really nasty smite fight. Nio's waiting for Tarzan to turn up. We'll try and tough it out, but gets knocked up by the 3 talent strike and just killed the solo kill. Oh dear. Tarzan has on the whole been the better of Nio in these early games. The plans from AL, the support from AL has been better. That smite fight on the Raptors haunting Nio this time around. Ooh, flash. Nyket looking to try and punish here. Gets the knock up. Doomby roaming down, but Hope also coming on in. There's the renewal. Leave not going to have the easiest angle. Naya with respawn can look to get some more value. But Tarzan, no flash. Shanks also here. But that's a level 4 casting, not the scariest. Nio, a low HP. Trying on Tarzan, dies again! On repeat! Oh, it's going from bad to awful. It's an open grave. And AL boot NIP's corpses in. 2-0-1 for Hope, 2-0-2 for Tarzan. Nio is 16 CS and 0-2. I don't think I could have seen an early game go as poorly as that. Anyone's legend of less than 5 minutes in and 2,000 gold in the lead. It's a level 3 Olaf. With a longsword and a dream. So they're going, right, we're going to play this. Punish Tarzan has got no flash. Pulverized by time for 2 and B to come on over. Reminder that Tarzan doesn't have the flash, but the Soul Flare is blocked by the spacing of Kael. So it doesn't land onto Tarzan, who's got red buff, level 4. Is a Shin's out. Nio just ate that tanky. Has his blinkers on, and Uma Masume is his way into the glue factory. I have no idea where he was sprinting. Just saw blood in his eyes. Realized it was his own. A little too late on that one. Don't really know what you say about that one. Other than yikes, mostly. Well then. What are we at now? 2,000 gold lead. Early dragon. Marcus towards feature strength stacking. The Olaf, this clutch pick. Falling apart at the seams. The attempted turnaround engage. Not working either. Hope is so ahead of curve. He's 1,000 gold up on leave or so. Very early on into the game. And the Misfortune, not had a lot of luck in playoffs, but right now has been donated the best early start you could ask for as an AD carry. Because, says chat, Leave didn't pick Nasus. He's picked a scaling champion. Your desire for Nasus is not lost on me, you weird humans. Here we are. Enjoying very down bad in chat. My favorite, it's fine. My favorite team is G2. Not Murky. Mod Nurky. Definitely not Murky. It's a real joy to be a G2 fan and enjoy the incredible suffering they bring upon us and hard attacks every time playoffs rolls around. What's with the Unk chat happening again? They come. Grubs being munched on now by AL. His second objective. NIP really feel like they need to fight here or it gets difficult. Hope flashes away from Nightcat's attempted engage. Kyle chunked up by the Soul Flare. Grub 1 secured by AL. Flandre now roaming on up. Level 7 for Shanks. Can maybe start to Rip Fork. Audacious charge. Double knocker. Bullet time! It's brutal. Crescent Guard buys time. And Olaf dead again. More knockups, more wind becoming lightning. It's an absolute thunderstorm out here. Solika will leap strike to at least get something. Can't quite... Does actually get the second grub off that, by the way. Smolder survives, gets a couple kills and an assist or so. 101. Problem is, Hope is down 304. 404 for Tarzan. Sure, you got 2 grubs, but the fight is still categorically AL's. Turn off the grubs looking for the fight. I thought the double pulverize would get scary, but that bullet time is monstrous. It really is. At least get one of the grubs back, but solo kills can't buy enough space. Flash on forward from Tarzan, gets another set of damage. The Make It Rain comes on down, and Hope still free firing. Solo kill just says, look, I'm not getting out. I'll at least get the grub. That is something, actually. Heads up from solo kill. Gets himself that grub win con potentially on the Jax. But the gold lead expands to 3.2 thousand gold. Bloodthirst is done for Hope. At least Leave got a kill. But your casting's involved. A lot of kills early. It's gone Inspiration. I would be very unsurprised. He isn't getting a few early stacks and stuff from his runes. 404 for Tarzan, who's 1,600 gold ahead. And Olaf from behind can absolutely offer nothing to a game. You have to go in. You have to hit people. You have to play around low HPs. But when you're hitting with noodle arms rather than Jack Black Cleaver Sundered Sky wielding arms, or whatever it is going to be the Olaf building. Probably is a Black Cleaver first by the looks of it. Or maybe with the Fade. I never do remember. Oh, he's on Vision. Oh, no. Nio. That's unfortunate. Tarzan's around. He's not spotted. Pathmaker, footwork goes wide. Tarzan's going to go in regardless. They know that he's there, but I don't think they care. We win those. Crescent Guard pull back. Overcomes the quickness. They do get the shutdown. That's nice. 1 for 1 right now. Leave gets involved as well with Mom coming on up. Rome, bullet time. Brutal. Flash on forwards as they keep getting more of the footwork. The Pathmaker, the Odofo strike to draw the double kill. What looked okay for a second or two isn't. As Hope decides to call in the armed artillery from Bilgewater. I was going Jack with black, like wielding black cleavers, but I now understand that Jack Black Cleavers just sounds like Jack Black's going to come in and start yelling about chicken jockeys again. They know that Nio's in that bush. They don't care. They say we want the fight. Alas, this Olaf is exhausted, has no gold, dies a horrible death, at least gets the shutdown. But then this turnaround is nasty. Nightcat goes in, but the Pathmaker denies the headbutt pole. Flash to kill Doenby. And the bullet time just means they have to turn and run. Oh, boy. Now, Flandre is 302. Tank with a lead. Fun that. It's not, for the record. Leave will stand up here and start attacking that turret a fair amount. Kyle and Shanks bot side. This is the Grub's advantage to NIP. TPing in is Flandre. In a 1v4, clears out the wave. May die for this. He's not that tanky. And dies. That's a kill on to Leave. Stops the turret going down, though. It means that Shanks likely gets that mark towards the feats of strength. 201 for Leave, though. If there was a way back, Smolder scaling with Carl. With kills. Might be your only way out. Still going to be this turret first for Shanks, who switches over with the spellbook back towards the Flash. Turret secured by Shanks. Soul Gold. Towards this Kassadin, who now has feats of strength as well. Probably worth from Flandre, but hey, not the cleanest we've ever seen. Bullet time goes on to leave. Oof. Just about survives it. Yeah, this is MF with the lead. Bullet times become very, very nasty. Just as trading tools, Bloodthirster makes you very difficult to trade back onto. Smolder never really going to have stack that's, or like poke that stacks. Just stacks that stack. Being zoned off the wave makes it harder and harder to get those stacks. Leave normally a monster of it. And in fairness to him, 156 stacks in 14 minutes is good. He'll be online, I think, for Soul Fight at the very least. Fight. Now looking at the red buff. Om nom 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 nom. Smolder wins those fights with the red buff, it turns out. NIP backs against the ropes. Threw at Atakan last game. It could have been theirs. It is not. AL with the best early game they've had of the series. Leaf gets over the wall. Him, but the wind becomes lightning. Has to back away now. Will not be able to contest his Herald. Make it rain onto 2. Leave with Mom available, looking to make sure he can potentially offer some covering fire on the retreat. Minute and a half until Dragon. What an explosive start to the year NIP had. Leave, All-Pro, doing B. MVP of the regular season in winter. And then we realized groups might have been a bit more differentiated than we gave them credit for, and playoffs happened and they capitulated. Wasn't clean. Down to Nirvana in Split 2. Crawled their way up content style. Nirvana the challenger. Iron to playoffs. Could not in the end close out that last game, and now might be on the verge of bowing up at the Duanbee's glorious return to pro. Not quite a whimper. Certainly not glory. Anyone's legend, on the other hand, might be spared their blushes if they win this series. 3 games where they have been at least shaky at parts in the game. Part of it's NIP playing well. Part of it's AL with some eyebrow-raising decision-making and coordination. Starting up around the Herald, I thought it would be theirs to take, and took a little while to start up. Solo kill going to be donated. A lot of free time on this turret. 2 grubs. And a Trinity Force probably means that turret goes down. Herald will be AL's in the long run. Solo kill, bonks that turret down, picks it up. Shortens that gold lead between himself and the Cassante, who in fairness, at 3-1 you'd think would have a bigger gold lead. Does not. Gold lead is mostly within the jungle at this point, and support. Leave with the Cull stack, with the shutdowns, has narrowed that gold lead in the AD carries to not all that much. Flondo will shuffle on him. Of course, a Cassidin with the lead at this point. With Roa, with Seraphs. Yeah, that's a ticking time bomb. Cassidin v Smolder, huh? The level 16 Doomsday Clock versus the 225 stacks. Still, Smolder becoming the win condition by getting gold is important. Jack's becoming a split push win condition to match Staff to Void Sword, Vorpal Blade. Shanks important. Netherblade is actually the one it is, isn't it? Dragon. Actually a contest here. Watch Solo Kill looking to zone out the side. Overcomes Shanks, looking to begin to stack up those Rift Walks. Threaten. Redemption from both sides. Keep people chunked up. Shanks will get headbutted out of the pit. Solo Kill stacking up the Counter-Strike. Not a great ult from Night Leave. Dragging down to 3k HP. Exhaust on his Shanks. Bullet time chunks Nikita really low. And the jungle is dead. All the while they'll lose a second kill to Hope. Thought they could contest, but Soul Point is now AL's, hunting for more as Tarzan gets a 3 talent strike and an audacious charge, and Leave does that. Picked up by Shanks. Ace around the Soul. Some of those gold leads began to look a bit more promising, and again, blink, and the gold lead balloons once more. 6-0-7 for the Misfortune. 6-1-9 for Tarzan. How much better do AL look when their jungler is in a commanding lead? Bullet time comes across. Everyone has to back. Nymaera has to flash it. It leaves Nio alone contesting the dragon because his team had to back out. They couldn't stand there under the waves and waves of ammunition. Back to life we go. NIP forced to try and run from their own jungle unsuccessfully as Hope keeps landing double up to double up. Some love taps come on through, and Misfortune blows them a kiss. She blows their heads off. The Queen of Bilgewater. Charming, gorgeous, strutting all over, and armed with all the firepower she can afford, and she is a very rich queen at this point. 808. Buy out the armory. The ultimate accessory, firepower and gunpowder. TP in from Flandre. TP in from Rakan with the spellbook. Nio trying to take away that wrap up. Gets it. Leave in danger, but more so is Nymaera, who will go down to Hope. There's a 9th kill for the AD carry. Leave can only stand and watch as his support is turned into stake to feed the AD carry a little more gold. Tarzan, crescent guard, flash, knockup. Kyle with the quickness. Oh, AL are just styling on him. There's the double-digit kills. 10-0 and 8. Misfortune's wins rate in the LPL playoffs has been anemic. Today, this game, she's eaten good. Redemption comes on forwards, will not save solo kill. Niall will Ragnarok, but unfortunately the end of days is looking a lot like NIP's world ending. Their year to boot. T2 in mid lane falls. The gold lead expands to over 10,000. 21 minutes on the clock. Atakan already taken by anyone's legend. No contest, no flip to be found this time around. The Infinity Edge done. But Hope, Seraph stacked, Roa stacked, Spellslinger's shoes board, and a book for some light reading on his travels. Shanks, a very learned individual, mostly in the ways of war. He'd love to give NIP an abject lesson. Nio, oh Nio, 1-6-2. Everything has gone wrong this game, hasn't it? Everything. Time and time and time again. "40 seconds until Hex Soul." NIP, I don't even know what you do. Get on your knees and pray, probably. Because it would take a miracle and a smite steal. Deny Hex Soul from a Cassidy. From a Misfortune who is ungodly fed. AL have nearly got as many kills as there are minutes in the game individually. And the clock has ticked down. Doomsday is upon us. Shanks is level 16. I don't even know they're there. We'll avoid Pulse. All the while, look, AL are just marching through mid. Why are NIP topsides? Trying to get that tier 1 top? Backs are interrupted. Hex Soul is there. NIP nowhere to be found there. Trying to play smoke and mirrors, but the fire ain't starting. And the smoke signals are spelling help. Please, someone. And unfortunately, I think the heavens are deafeningly quiet right now. in Shenzhen, in NIP's home arena. I fear the crowd may have to watch the most decisive game of the series go against them. The draft was fun, but the play was not. It's been a horror show. It's been an execution. A triple kill for Tarzan, who from the moment he won the Smite fight over his own Raptors has shown NIP what the meaning of jungle carry looks like. The best jungler in the LPL. Kanavi might fight it, but right now, this game, this moment, it's Tarzan. He takes the game by the scruff of the neck and breaks it. Anyone's legends decimate, desiccate, and destroy NIP's dreams. Their year is over. The Spring Champions continue on their march through the lower bracket. Wow. This game could be decided and talked about around Raptor camps, couldn't it? Nio was, in the end, categorically diffed by Tarzan. It wasn't just about him. It was team setup as well. When AL looked at their best this series, it was with the team rallying around Tarzan to put Nio into the worst position possible. And when this game, NIP tried to fight fire with fire, defend around the red buff, oh my god, it couldn't have gone much worse, could it? Elimination game for NIP. Their year is done. Probably see them in Demacia Cup, but that tends to be our academy players. But this iteration of NIP, their journey out of Nirvana and into playoffs, ends here. Anyone's legends, with the exception of that game 3, not convincing on the whole. When they got the leads, they knew how to run with it. Knew what they needed to do to find the seam in the game and unpick it in their favor. But Atakan was their ally. The early games were often not, with the exception of that last game, which was incredibly convincing. Hope you enjoyed that one, folks. Thanks for coming and joining us. Much love over to Alex. Much love over to Nymaera, who's obviously dealing with a migraine right now. Left me to finish up that series, and it's to be a play-by-play game anyway, wasn't it? Violence occurred. Thank you for those who did come in to come and watch with us. It's thanks to all of you that we get to do that, and that means for those of you who have not yet, please do make sure to like, to comment, to subscribe on YouTube. It does help with the algorithm there. Please do make sure, if you have got that extra bit of cash at September, to subscribe. Be that via Twitch Prime, be that with a regular sub, be that by a gifting over on the Twitch channel. It does make a huge difference to our ability to keep doing this for you all. It's supporting the both of us, and that ain't an easy feat. Thank you for those of you who do get to do that. You are the real ones back home. On top of that, we have got a Ko-fi. Please do have a look at the Ko-fi. Please do have a look at League Mastery as well, which is a really cool website program put together by Hedon, and now ourselves, while putting together some really awesome courses to help teach you all about League of Legends, be that being a one-trick, be that about being better at the game, or from myself and Alex, for those who want to get better at broadcast, enjoying esports, being a caster, we have got a course for you, teaching you the fundamentals of casting, what Riot is looking for, and how it can help you in your journey to be a caster. If you're just esports enjoyers, this will be a really interesting insight into what goes into making a caster, to why we do the things we do, why we talk about the things we talk about, and maybe give you some insight into the art of broadcast, which is really something myself and Alex are incredibly passionate about. I will be streaming after this, I think. I'll go play some Genshin, tune out that one. I've got 2xKO beta pass as well, which is bloody exciting. So we'll hopefully get to stream a bit of that. But today, I think it'll be Genshin, bit of a chill. Won't be a long stream, I think, as I have got other things to do today. But for now, thanks all for coming and tuning in. Is Alex okay? Got himself a bit of a migraine. Honestly, Zverev is what's going on. There we go. The gold lead began to stall out a little bit. But the thing is, they were just waiting, biding their time for the soul fight to come on through. Credit to the likes of Leave for solo kill, for getting what resources they could, for the Hail Mary. But it was always a long shot. And the ball falls short of the touchdown they were aiming for. Oh, one last set of ads. Guys, we'll wait on that MVP. I'll turn the camera off and go get my PC set up while those highlights are happening. And then I will go and do a bit more of that streaming thing.
Of course I can. Oh, and so Doomby's return it. Oh, man. Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay, Alex? Well, less so after watching that game. That was despicable. Yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. Thanks for watching as always, and I hope you had a good time. It's always nice to be able to have our own bit of the LPL community here, and you're all welcome in at any time. Yeah, so, yeah. Sad that NIP's story ends here, but then again, anyone's legend, current reigning champions, feel very strange to see them going in the lower bracket in the first place, but yeah. I do wonder what happens with NIP next year. I don't think they really got the resources they wanted, the results they wanted. Compliment for Zverev and a fun fact. Well, one of the parts of my favourite parts of the community is having people like you in here, Zverev. I appreciate how you're always very active and participating, and you're just nice to have a chat with. Genuinely, no, you're very nice to have around. That applies to all of you as well, but Zverev still no answer for the compliment. And a fun fact, let me have a think. Did you know that the same side of the moon is always pointing at us, so the moon doesn't rotate, which is why there is a dark side of the moon, is the one that we can't see? Okay, we'll wait until Sam is ready to do things, and we'll wait a little bit longer until we see the MVP, and then we'll radio over to Sam. And if you're on YouTube, that's where the show will end. Also, you'll be happy to know, folks, I'm currently doing my champions meet, and I'm currently, God, what is my record right now? I'm not gonna lie, my stuff is insane right now. I think I'm 15-3, 15-3 maybe right now. 10-1-13, damn. Oh, Tarzan's too good at League of Legends. But yeah, I have a Myona Top Gun, which is just destroying the competition.
Right, we're done.
You on? Okay, folks, the show will end here. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you.